Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's talk about the NFL trade deadline. And coming up in a bit, we are going to head to Washington, D.C. All right, so the Chiefs were interested in Marshon Lattimore. I believe, coming down to the wire, it was between the Chiefs and the Commanders. And before we move any forward in this conversation, if we're going to discuss the Commanders, let's just get it out the way now, and we don't have to bring it up again for a while.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
All right, thanks. I just had to go ahead and play it because I'm going to say Commanders a bunch here over the course of the next 5-7 minutes or so. Let me just play it on the front end. We'll play it on the back end, and that will cover our bases when talking about the Commanders because that is the rule on this show. All right, so this is what New Orleans got in exchange for Marshon Lattimore, and this is going to tell you why he's not playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Saints have acquired in the upcoming draft, so in 2025, they have acquired a third, fourth, and a sixth round pick. Washington obviously gets the player. They get Marshon Lattimore, and they get the Saints 2025 sixth round pick. So they do a little bit of a pick swap. You move up, you move down, but New Orleans got a pretty heavy package for Marshon Lattimore. Rob, this is what you and I said yesterday when discussing Lattimore if he was a realistic possibility for Kansas City. He's a 28-year-old corner. And he is probably in the conversation of one of the 10 to 12 best corners in the National Football League. You weren't getting him for cheap. We've now seen the wide receiver market over the course of the last 2 weeks. Not just D-Hop got traded, but Amari Cooper got traded. We have seen Deontay Johnson get traded. Mike Williams just got traded. We've seen a lot of wide receivers get traded over the course of the last 2 weeks or so. We've seen what the market is. You can get a decent wide receiver for a fourth or a fifth round pick. If there was only one impact corner on the market and there were going to be 3 or 4 teams that were really interested in improving their defense and getting a legitimate playmaker at the position, and given his age and productivity and also track record, you were not going to get that player for cheap. So this is what I think happened. I think the Chiefs called. I think the Chiefs were willing to give up their third round pick. I think you have to know going into the conversation that New Orleans is going to ask a premium for a premium player. I think it's possible that Marshon Lattimore is the best player that gets moved at the deadline. You maybe could argue D-Hop is that player. You could probably argue Amari Cooper is in that conversation. But Marshon Lattimore is certainly one of the best players that got moved at the deadline. He's also the youngest impact player that got traded at the deadline. He's 4 years younger than D-Hop and plays a position that it's just a scarcity of supply and demand. I think the Chiefs called, and I think the Saints were interested. And then I think the Saints called around the league to get a better idea of what his value was on the open market, and they ended up getting more than what the Chiefs could offer. The Chiefs have to hold that fourth round pick because the D-Hop move might be a fifth round pick. It might be a fourth round pick, depending on how the season breaks down. I don't think that the Chiefs were in a position that they were going to trade basically the remainder of their good assets. They were never going to trade a first or a second. That's not what any player went for at this deadline. But I don't think that they were basically willing to not pick on day 2 or day 3 of the NFL draft, and that's kind of what they were looking at if they had made this move to go get Marshon Lattimore. So I completely understand why the Chiefs kicked the tires. I completely understand why the Chiefs were in on it. We're talking about a good player at a position of need for you and a position that you were losing a lot of depth. But if this was the acquisition cost to go acquire him, it's just not really in line with the kind of moves that the Chiefs do. It's understandable why the Commanders would do this. You got a quarterback on a rookie deal. You got a new ownership group. You haven't won your division in some time. You want to make a big splashy move. You want to sell a message to your fan base. This is different. This is not the Daniel Snyder. This is not the old Commanders football team word we can't say anymore. This is a new regime. We are a new organization, and I'm going to show you guys that we are committed to going out and making that kind of move. This is a move that in Washington, I imagine this move is being applauded, and we're going to head to Washington here in a little bit to hear the Commanders' side of this deal. But that's obviously not what it is in Kansas City. You guys were going to be fine one way or the other. If the Chiefs had made this move and Veach we trust, I'm happy that he's going for it and going for the three-peat. Veach sits on his hands, so to speak, and I don't mean that in a negative term, but passes on the deal. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Veach passes on the deal, and now you're applauding him for not overpaying for the player. Veach was going to be in a no-lose situation either side. So you trust your development, you trust your scouting, you trust your defensive coordinator to get the guys along. Next man up, you don't need to be in a position of worry. You're the only undefeated team in the National Football League, and you have the inside track to the 1 seed. So I understand why the Chiefs didn't overspend. I don't even know if they had all of these assets to go out there and acquire Marshawn Lattimore. Rob, as the news has come together over the course of the last, not even 24 hours, over the course of the last 8 hours, it was certainly a fun back and forth and following the reporting. But now that we have seen the total cost to go acquire the player, it is perfectly understandable why the Chiefs did make this trade to go acquire Marshawn Lattimore.
I actually applaud Brett Veach for not making that move. That price is too high for Marshawn Lattimore. The player is good, and the contract for 2024 is good. But the contract for 2025 and beyond is bad. You would have to do some real maneuvering, some real negotiation, maybe a cut and carry some dead cap. There is things to his contract that are problematic. So if you're telling me there's contract work to be done and you might have to carry dead cap and you might have to give up a third and a fourth to do it, yeah, this is a good no trade by Brett Veach. I feel like sometimes, you know, with general managers and with front office types, and really any sport, but the NFL is the example here, we applaud them for making the right deal. We need to applaud people for making the right no deal too. Because if Marshawn Lynch was a Chief today at that price, that is too steep a cost. And I know Chiefs fans are all in on the three-peat, but the Chiefs have to think about 2025 and beyond. So I am a fan of saying no thanks on that deal. And I understand why the Commanders did it for a lot of reasons.
Also, to be fair, there's not a player in the league I think you would have done this deal for. Knowing how you are with draft picks, there is not a single. You wouldn't have done this for T.J. Watt if he had been available for the Kansas City Chiefs. So there's no player at the deadline you would have traded 3 picks for to acquire at the deadline. Rob, we got some breaking news here. Another team in the AFC has made a move.
The Drive. First to breaking news in Kansas City.
The Baltimore Ravens, they have acquired cornerback Trey White in a 2027 7th-round pick, and they are sending the Rams their 7th-round pick for the 2026 draft. Per a source, Adam Schefter was first on it. It was confirmed by Josina Anderson of CBS Sports. So the Ravens, I would say the Ravens have had a pretty good trade deadline. The Ravens went out and they got Deontay Johnson and acquired him at basically no cost. I don't know what Trey White's contract is, but you go out and the Ravens were dead last in pass defense. You go out, you make a move, and at least from a draft pick compensation standpoint, you didn't really give up anything. You gave up a 2027 7th-round pick, and then you get back a 2026 7th-round pick. So you did a late pick swap for way off in the distant future, and you also get a corner to try to help strengthen that cornerback room and try to strengthen your secondary. I would like to see what the contract is for Trey White to kind of see what kind of money the Ravens have picked up, but the Ravens went out there over the course of the last 10 days or so, and they have acquired, I don't think he's a number 1 receiver, but a low 2, high 3 wide receiver, and you also go get a corner where if he's healthy, he can certainly help you. This is a good trade for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you have to ask yourself, A, why is a team that's going forward in the Rams, why are they trading you Trey White? Why are they basically giving him to you? So I don't want to make it seem like the Ravens acquired some all-pro corner. He maybe used to be that 4 or 5 years ago with the Buffalo Bills. That's certainly not who he is now, but the Ravens just needed help. The Ravens needed a body. This is also a move I'm a little surprised that Kansas City was on. I'm saying this without knowing the contract details, but for a team that clearly wanted a little bit more corner help and you could have got somebody at relatively no cost, at least from a draft pick compensation point, I'm a little surprised that Kansas City wasn't in on this move to go get Trey White, but the Ravens certainly had a need, and I'm guessing that their cap situation isn't in the same position as Kansas City, and the Ravens are obviously trying to catch up to Kansas City and surpass them and beat them in the postseason, so it makes sense why the Ravens were pretty heavy players at the deadline. You go get Deontay Johnson last week, and this week you go pick up the corner Trey White.
I mean, the compensation, okay, it's very little. Man, if Trey White got anything left, I feel like Trey White has been an idea in the league for about 5 years.
I agree with that.
How many times have the Chiefs have played the Bills a lot, and a lot in the postseason.
He's always hurt whenever they play
Every
him.
time. It doesn't matter when
He's
the
always
Chiefs
hurt.
and Bills match up. The injury report comes out. We always talk Chiefs-Bills because it's a massive matchup. And the injury report come out and it'll be like, oh, Trey White not playing. Trey White limited. Trey White's not going to play. Looks like Tre'Davious White's not going to be a go for the team. So the name is not a bad deal. And if you can squeeze the last amount of football out of Tre'Davious White, it's a good deal for the Ravens. But, I mean, I feel like the only time I hear about Tre'Davious White up until today's trade is he's on the injury report. So he might be washed. Like,
No, I don't think
there's a very big chance he's washed. And
Yeah.
the Rams are just quitting on him after not playing him.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't know if there's even a question or not on whether he is washed. I mean, he was a guy that it wasn't that long ago. He was probably considered one of the better corners in the league. So he is playing for the Rams. It is a 1-year contract. It is a 1-year, $4.2 million deal. He got guaranteed $3.2 million. So if you're the Ravens, I mean, you spent basically nothing to acquire him. Trey White is now 29 years old. So it lets you know how long we've been having this conversation with Trey White. But for those of you that are just tuning in, the Ravens have made a trade. We are about 30 minutes away from the deadline. The Ravens, they have acquired Tre'Davious White. He is a corner, played with Buffalo, now plays for the Rams, now plays for the Ravens. So the Ravens are picking up Trey White. They also get a 2027 7th round pick. So we got 3 drafts until we get there. And they are sending the Ram their 2026 7th round pick. That is per Adam Schefter and also Josina Anderson. The money is nothing. I mean, it was a base salary of $1.5 million. So let's basically cut that in half, maybe a little bit more now at this point. So would you acquire Trey White for less than $1 million as we head towards the second half of the season? That was obviously worth it for the Baltimore Ravens as they have gone out and made a move to try to strengthen that wide receiver room, or excuse me, that corner room. We are going to head to Washington, D.C. here coming up in a little bit and learn a little bit more about this Marshawn Lattimore trade. But I want to play for you guys what Nate Taylor had to say. He was on Cody and Gold earlier today. He thinks that the Chiefs are done making moves.
Are they done?
I think so. I think Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore was their number one target when today began, or essentially after last night's game. I know some people will say, well, Nate, they're 8-0. The defense has played pretty well up to this point in the season. Why would they want a veteran cornerback, obviously someone who's been a Pro Bowler before? And I think the one thing that you could point to last night, because you're not going to change the linebackers, and they've struggled obviously against covering tight ends all season. But when Baker Mayfield was in an up-tempo 2-minute drill,
I picked on a little.
where is 30 and where is 2? And if you could just mitigate one of those with a better, serviceable, even above average cornerback alongside opposite Trent McDuffie, then the defense doesn't have as many, doesn't have it necessarily as what appears to be a minor hole that obviously could get bigger as the season goes on. But that's one of the reasons why it's unfortunate that, Jalen Watson is basically done for the year, and he was playing great for the first 6 games of the season. But Christian Roland-Wallace is an undrafted rookie. And, Joshua Williams has basically struggled from training camp on this year. So you can't necessarily, you're not really sure what you're going to get from him. So even though I think they're probably done, I think their biggest priority, I guess from now until 3 o'clock, because they can still obviously make a move, is at the cornerback position, because you can see that the competition last night was not high.
So that was Nate Taylor earlier today. We'll see if the Chiefs make a move at corner. There's not a lot of players left as we are 30 minutes away. They missed on Trey White. I don't know if they really wanted Trey White. Mike Edwards is also available. He got cut earlier today from the Buffalo Bills. So we'll see if the Chiefs make a move at corner. Well, one team made a move at corner. Let's head to Washington, D.C. right now to be joined by Nick Ashew to get his thoughts on the Commanders as they have traded for Marshawn Lattimore. Nick, man, happy to have you join us today.
I cannot believe I'm talking about my football team that I've not only been a fan of, but covered in various forms for years, doing something aggressive because they're in a good position to win football games and ahead of schedule. It's a very weird spot for me to be in. I know you're used to success there in Kansas City, but for me and everybody else that's been around this team, it's a very, very new situation for us. We're like Ricky Bobby. We don't know what to do with our hands right now. Our emotions are his hands, and we're just kind of sitting around going, this is incredible.
So this leads me to the first question, and it sounds like I already know the answer to this. It doesn't sound like you believe they gave up too much to go get Marshawn Lattimore, because I'm looking at the compensation, and I mean, this was the priciest player at the deadline. This is more than what the Bills gave up to acquire Amari Cooper, more than what the Chiefs gave up to go get D-Hop. Obviously different position, and we're talking about supply and demand, and this is a scarce position, getting an impact corner at the deadline. But it doesn't sound like you believe that the Commanders gave up too much to go get him.
You know, you get what you pay for, and I think obviously the concern is the hamstring injury and, missing 19 games over the past past 3 seasons or whatever it was, where in terms of injuries, past 2 seasons. So yes, there is certainly a concern there, but this is a team that had extra draft picks to give up and a ton of cap space this offseason. So coming into this year, the big thing for me with Washington was just seeing growth as the weeks went on. Like, that was the ceiling for me, the expectation. Let's just see growth in Jaden Daniels. Let's just see a team that has better culture. For their win total, that would be nice. But now they've gotten to the point where they're in Texans territory, where last year this is where the Texans were, where it went, oh, we've got our quarterback. Oh, we can really be aggressive, and we've drafted well. And they're ahead of schedule now. And the third-round pick that they gave up was part of the Jahan Dotson trade to the Eagles. And Jahan Dotson, we know, hasn't done anything really in Washington and hasn't done anything in Philadelphia either. So essentially they flipped Jahan Dotson and turned it into Marshawn Lattimore. So Adam Peters, their general manager, there alone, I think, has done an incredible job just to make that a more valuable position, a more valuable move than what they had before. They also have just been we're in a league today where you have to be able to defend the pass. Everybody's throwing the football. And if you don't have a secondary that you can trust week in and week out, like Washington still hasn't had, massively important for them. 20 temp this year, all right, 18th opposing quarterback passer rating. So they're sitting there in middle of the pack at best when it comes to defending the pass this year. And they needed a cornerback one, and they didn't have that position shored up at all. And this is something where, in the end, he's going to cost you about an $18 million cap hit next year. Washington has a ton of cap space. And it made sense in the end. Draft picks are great, but you don't know what you're always getting from somebody that you're drafting. This is somebody you've already seen as a 4-time Pro Bowler, what they can do on the field in the NFL.
Right now, we're talking to Nick Ashew, getting his thoughts as the Washington Commanders have made a trade for Marshawn Lattimore. Just take us through the fan base and sort of their feeling is this thing sort of has kind of come out of nowhere. I don't know many people that had a lot of expectations for the Commanders coming into the season. It was kind of wrapped into what their quarterback was going to be. And their quarterback has been very good, but they also have some really good offensive pieces. They can run the football a little bit. They got some solid wide receivers on the outside. Their defense has played well. It just feels like one of those years that everything is coming up positive for the Commanders.
Yeah, and listen, it starts at the top, right? I'm a big believer in attitude reflects leadership, and the culture there has changed tremendously. And it starts with Dan Snyder being gone. Let's be honest with ourselves. Dan Snyder being gone has changed everything from the top all the way down to this team. But the biggest acquisition that this Washington franchise has made in years was Adam Peters and getting him, who was in the offseason, him touch on this team. There was a lot on so there's a lot of motivation, as we know, right? Contract years, states players. We've seen it across all sports. And you're getting that result from players here right now. But it's just, it still all comes down to front office and then quarterback. In the end, Jaden Daniels is exceeding expectations. And we're watching a guy that doesn't a seasoned veteran. I mean, to have him in the conversation, I don't think he's going to win, but is, I mean, it's unfathomable compared to where with this team. You don't truly have NFL, and you can't truly achieve success until you have great quarterback play. That Washington was able to get that in his rookie year from him has put them a much faster track to competing, a much faster track to having Super Bowl aspirations. Again, I don't think they're coming out of the NFC this year. It's great that this is a conversation, but the playoffs are a different animal than the regular season. But the fact that they're even in that spot right now is really, it's unfathomable for this whole fan base, because we just don't know, like, whether you've covered the team or you've been a fan of it, or you're both, and a lot of people are both around the D.C. area if you're in the D.C. media, you're not used to this being a conversation about anything other than dysfunction with them. And the fact that it's all about what we're seeing now on the football field in a 7-2 start is one of the reasons why they went all in on Marshawn Lattimore, to be able to make that trade, to be a team now that's saying it's not about next offseason, it's about right now and riding the momentum we've already built through the first 9 games.
That is Nick Ashew joining us on the show today to give us his thoughts on the Washington Commanders, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, anytime.
Absolutely, man. That was Nick Ashew joining us on the show. Wanted to at least let him finish his answer. The phone, it was not cooking for us today. Happy to learn a little bit more about the Commanders as the Commanders go out there. I would consider the Commanders to be the winner of the day. I like the move that they made. I also like what the Steelers did earlier today. They picked up another pass rusher, Preston Smith. They also went out and they got Mike Williams today for nothing. The NFL sort of gambled that if we move the trade deadline back, we were going to see more movement, and that's exactly what's happened. The NFL, they got this thing right. They wanted the trade deadline to be a little closer to baseball, a little closer to the NBA, and that is exactly what has happened. We have seen a lot of moves happen over the course of the last 3 weeks. We've seen some big-name players get moved. Amari Cooper got traded. DeAndre Hopkins got traded. Marshawn Lattimore got traded. We just saw Trey White get traded. So it wasn't just kind of depth pieces or names that you've never heard of before. This was a legitimately interesting trade deadline.
I'm interested by one team you didn't mention as the winner. Detroit? Detroit is a pass rusher away from being, let me rephrase that. Detroit is already dangerous as a Super Bowl type of team. They are maybe the best offense in the NFL. They have one of the top coaches. They have an MVP candidate at quarterback. Like, they have all the things. And the one knock was, well, they lost Aiden Hutchinson. Didn't they get the best pass rusher on the market today? Like, one of the reasons why is because of the cap and they can absorb the contract, but Zadarius Smith was considered the best pass rusher on the market. They needed a pass rusher. They went and got him today. I'm surprised you didn't have Detroit in your winner category.
You know, I like what Detroit did as well. They clearly had a need for pass rusher with losing Aiden Hutchinson. They go get Zadarius Smith. So no, I would say the teams that clearly feel like they are contending teams, Kansas City obviously feels that way. The Lions feel that way. The Bills feel that way. The Ravens. Those teams that feel like they got a legitimate shot at winning this whole thing took a pretty decent swing, and I think for the most part came away with pretty good value. Now, we'll see if the Commanders got good value. To me, the Commanders' move was a little bit more desperate than everybody else's move. You can't really hate on the Kansas City move. The acquisition cost and what you're paying him the rest of the season. There's really no reason to dislike the Deontay Johnson move. Same concept. They gave up real pieces for Marshawn Lattimore, who has some years attached to the back end of it and is also dealing with an injury right now. So time will tell if the Commanders made the right decision with their move and if they're going to end up being proven right. But for an organization that hasn't won a lot over the course of the last 20 years, I understand them being aggressive and just trying to set a new tone. We are a completely different organization. Coming up on the other side, this will be the only show that will have this topic. I promise you. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other, and for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
I've told you guys for a while now, my car's starting to get up there in age. And so it was such a relief when I got to drive a brand new truck from my friends over at Max Motors up to training camp just a year or so ago. It made me not have to worry about the reliability of my car, and I knew I was working with the best in the Midwest. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the highest trade-in values in the Midwest as well. And you can shop online at maxmotors.com. And right now they have the largest heavy-duty sale of the year. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. They also have new 2025 Ram 1500s up to $14,000 off MSRP. Stock number S250009. So if you're thinking about that new ride, now's a great time to head over to Max Motors, whether it's maxmotors.com or heading down to one of the locations in the Kansas City area. Max Motors, your Midwest dealer. See dealer for details. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 12/12/2024.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
This afternoon, expect a day with light rain and mostly cloudy skies, reaching a high of 61.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
Somebody has to be the person to talk about this in the city, and for whatever reason, it is me. We've reached this really weird point on the text line, and that every time Travis Kelce does something, I have to comment on it, and on the field. I don't really care about his personal life off the field. That's his own business. It kind of reminds me of what we do with college football teams, like when a team wins. See, I told you Texas was back. Well, we got to have this conversation every time that they win a game. Maybe they're not back yet. So someone on the text line says, C-Dot, do you still think Kelce is washed and not the same player? You're a clown. I've never said that Travis Kelce was washed. I don't really know where this has come from, but okay, that's fine. I don't know why people won't point out the very obvious point about Travis Kelce that I think we are all seeing right before us. But again, no one wants to say it. And again, that can be my responsibility. You guys see how many times they threw it to him yesterday? I was the only one that saw that, right? Like how many times they threw it to him and how many yards he got at the end of it? They threw it to Travis Kelce 16 times and he got 100 yards. He averaged 7 yards a catch. So, yeah, he had a good game yesterday. I'm not hating at all on Travis Kelce's good game. But we can agree that, man, getting that 100, it ain't as easy as it used to be. Right now, what we're arguing is, we love a good basketball comparison on this show. It used to take a player 7 games to get to 20, or 7 shots to get to 20 points. Now it takes him 15 shots to get there. So, yes, he scored 20 last night, no doubt. You scored 20. You took 14 shots and you took 6 free throws. I would hope you got to 20 points if you took that many shots. Let me give you the only stat of the day I'll give you about Travis Kelce to support my own argument. And again, I've never said Travis Kelce is washed, but it just seems very obvious that he's not the same player anymore. I just don't know why we can't just acknowledge it. Travis Kelce, for his entire career leading up to the last 2 seasons, so we are talking about from 2014 until 2022, he averaged 12.7 yards per catch. Last season, he averaged 10.6 yards per catch. This season, he is averaging 8.4 yards per catch. That's a drastically different player. He is not as explosive anymore. So I'm not here to bash on Travis Kelce. I'm really not. I don't think that Travis Kelce is washed. I just think that he is clearly different from what he has been over the course of the last 2 years. They threw it to him 16 times and he got 100 yards. They threw it to D-Hop 8 times and he got 90 yards. There was a difference yesterday in terms of explosiveness, in terms of all of those things yesterday. So again, I guess maybe this is the last time, hopefully, I do not think that Travis Kelce is washed. I don't think that he is completely done and can't help the Chiefs in any way. But over the course of 18 months, if we had made a list of top 10 pass catchers in the NFL, Travis Kelce was clearly in the top 5. He was up there with Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He's not in that conversation anymore, but can he still help? Is he still viable? Can he still get open? Is he still a positive? Of course. But the numbers, I just feel like they're flashing right before our eyes, like they're right there in front of us. And I'm the only person in the city that wants to talk about it and acknowledge he's not the same individual anymore. Just because you weren't Travis Kelce in 2022 doesn't mean that you can't still help and be productive and have good games from time to time. I just don't know why with Kelce it has to be so black or white.
Isn't this the same thing we do with Kareem Hunt? And maybe that's just, how you said, hey, for whatever reason, whenever Kelce does something, the city wants you to respond. I don't think the city wants me to respond, but the text line does fill up with Kareem Hunt takes whenever he has a nice game. I think you mentioned this show loves basketball analogies. You know this show loves more than that? Movie analogies. So I got you. You know that scene in Moneyball where Brad Pitt tells David Justice, hey, we got to make this work for each of us. You want to stay in the show, and we want to get the last good baseball out of you. That's what the Chiefs are doing with Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt. Those guys want to be on championship teams, and they want to be contributors. But the Chiefs know to do it, it's not the same way it was in 2017. It's not the same way it was in 2021. It's not the same. There is a path to still make them contributors and make them an important part of the team, it just looks different. But I feel like fans only look at the final box score and they don't talk about the how it got there. 27 carries for Kareem Hunt is just, that's like Jerome Bettis in 1996. It's not the same as it was, but it's still getting the most out of him. Travis Kelce, 16 targets is crazy.
A lot. Yeah,
it's a lot of targets. But you know what? They're getting the most out of him during an important season. So I think it works both ways. Hey, the player isn't the player he was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, but they can still be an important contributor on the team. It just is going to look different, and it's going to be more a product of volume than pure explosiveness.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, do you think it's Travis or Mahomes that's the reason that the numbers have dropped? Why do we blame the receivers and everyone other than the QB? Not saying Mahomes is bad, but he isn't himself this year. I mean, you guys kind of know where my stance is. I don't really think the Chiefs have a whole lot of great parts. The Chiefs currently have one good receiver on their team. Xavier Worthy is not really developed, and I wouldn't say that right now he is a good receiver. I like Kareem Hunt, but I don't really think the explosiveness is there. Like, I don't really think that Patrick Mahomes is in a really good infrastructure. I think the biggest thing with Travis Kelce is he just can't really run away from people anymore. Like, you remember Travis when he was at his peak. You could line him up as a wide receiver, and he could really run past individuals anymore. I don't really think he can do that. I think that Kelce is getting open at this point just based off he's just a really smart receiver, and he and Mahomes know each other really well, that he knows how to find the open spots. He kind of gets his yards and gets down. When was the last time you seen Travis run over somebody? When was the last time you seen Travis really jump over anybody? He's just not that same athlete anymore, and that's understandable given the amount of football he's played and where he's at in his career. So again, I just don't know why I'm like, oh, I think Travis is washed. I don't think Travis is washed, but I just don't know how we can watch these games. We've seen Travis Kelce for a decade. We watch every single game, and like, we're not noticing that this guy's not the same player that he used to be. And then the numbers suggest that. They threw it to him 16 times yesterday, and he got 116 times. If you had given 2015 Travis Kelce 16 targets, he'd had 300 yards yesterday. That guy would have had 300 yards if you threw it to him that many times yesterday. He's just not that guy anymore, and that's perfectly fine. He's still a top 5 tight end in the league. He can still help you win games. He can still be a very valuable member once we get to the postseason. I just don't want to keep pretending like he's the same player that he was in 2019. I don't think it has anything to do with Taylor Swift or that show he does on FX or any of those things. I just think we're looking at a 32, 33-year-old tight end. His birthday's coming up. I just think we're talking about a player and just he's on the back half of his career, and this is kind of what it looks like as you were seeing a player who just doesn't have the same explosiveness that they had earlier on in their career. Coming up at the top of the hour, Rob, let's get to this. We have not talked about this yet. Man, the Chiefs could have lost yesterday, but you know what? Tampa Bay, they just didn't want to win the game. I'll explain. Keep it right here, The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, let's get ready for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I'm also going to take an anytime touchdown with Derrick Henry because he scores a touchdown in every single game. I'm also going to take Joe Burrow to throw at least 2 touchdown passes. He's been on a roll of late. You can use this same game parlay, maybe make your own, or use one of the pre-built ones right there on the app. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
'Tis the season of giving from the Kansas Lottery. So instead of one gift, give 2 or 3 with holiday instant tickets from $1 to $20. Don't sweat last-minute gifts because you will have plenty. Forget about Santa and his super fast sleigh when the folks on your list can win up to $100K. Give Kansas Lottery holiday instant tickets this season. They're festive as heck and the winnings are pleasing. See kslottery.com for all the details. Sorry, this holiday story has gone off the rails.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan, and the other place is your sports watching headquarters this fall. Now with 5 great area locations: Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Enjoy Red Friday specials all day.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays starting at 2 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I know that this segment is going to make it seem like I was rooting for Tampa Bay, but I assure you I was not rooting for Tampa Bay. I wasn't. I know that this topic is going to make it seem like I was. I had the Chiefs on the money line, so I obviously wasn't rooting for Tampa Bay yesterday. But we got to talk about it. It has to be discussed. Why did they not go for 2 yesterday? I mean, we all were sitting there and preparing for the exact same thing, right? Like, I wasn't the only one that was thinking this. As the Buccaneers were driving down the field, I was thinking, oh, they're going to go for 2. Now, maybe they don't get the 2-point conversion. Maybe the Chiefs have a little bit more sense of urgency at the end of the game if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get the 2-point conversion and now the Chiefs are down 1 and have to put a drive together in order to win the game. Like, we can play out the scenarios in the situation. I obviously don't know what would have happened if the Buccaneers had gone for it. But you 100% have to go for it in that scenario if you were Tampa Bay. You had the Chiefs on their heels defensively. Tampa Bay had just finished a 10-play, 71-yard drive with less than 2 minutes to go. That was one of the best drives we have seen against the Chiefs defense in maybe a year and a half. And you were just content to kick a field goal at the end of it and give Patrick Mahomes another chance in regulation and then possibly another chance with the coin flip? It was silly. Baker Mayfield's reaction told us everything that we needed to know. His reaction at the end of it was like, oh, man. You knew you had messed up in that situation. You knew you had messed up in that scenario. You had lost. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost the game the moment they decided to kick the extra point. I don't know why we don't talk about this, but sometimes your best chance to win the game doesn't always have to be at the end of the game. Rob, we've seen plenty of games where your best chance to win is you got to convert a third down with 6 minutes to go. Sometimes in a basketball game, your best chance to win is here. Sometimes in a baseball game, you got the bases loaded in the 6th inning. And if you don't score these runs, then you're not going to win the game. Sure, you're going to have more time, more opportunities, but that's your best opportunities. A second thing here, I'm tired of all these analytic numbers. I don't care about them. I don't want to see them anymore. So Seth Walder, he is with ESPN. He's kind of there, should you go for it, analytic guy, right? The analytics say that they should have kicked the extra point. So it was like 42.8% to kick the field goal. It was 41.2%, the math said. So it was a little bit better for you to kick the extra point than go for it based on the math of the analytics. But the analytics do not factor in number 15 on the other side. Is that 41% for every team in the league? Because I assure you, that 41% against the Saints is very different than your 41% against Kansas City. We all knew when Tampa Bay made that decision to kick the extra point, they had lost the game. Maybe you lose if you go for it. Maybe you throw the ball to Rachaad White and he drops it. Maybe you throw the ball to Cade Otton and he drops it, or Miller, or whomever you decide to draw the play up for. But you can't concede in that moment. You can't wave the white flag in that moment. This is the same team that started the game jumping on the logo in the middle of the field. This is the same organization, the same team that got everybody together to jump on the field. And now you're going to kick the extra point at the end of it? I give you guys credit in the beginning. We're not afraid of Kansas City. We're not afraid of the weather. We're coming in here and we're going to beat those guys. Cool, I like that energy. Then at the end of the game, you had a chance to really embody that during the game. You had a chance to have that same energy during the game, and you chose to kick the extra point? It was weak. It was weak. You just put together a 10-play, 71-yard drive in a minute, 49 seconds. You had all the momentum. No one would have faulted you for going for it and not getting it. You would have ended up at the exact same conclusion. You lost to the Chiefs. Everybody loses to the Chiefs. There's no shame in losing to the Chiefs. You lost to the Chiefs. You at least give yourself the opportunity. Your best chance to win that game last night was with Baker Mayfield, not your defense. You were not winning that game with your defense. Patrick Mahomes is one of those individuals. Once you tell him exactly what needs to be done for the Chiefs to go win the game, they're going to figure it out. You knew they were going to figure it out. Tampa Bay, I'd love to hear what their sports talk was saying, what their pregame and postgame. I'd love to hear what they were saying yesterday, because you got to be kicking yourself for, again, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe the Chiefs stop them. Maybe Mahomes takes him down the field and Harrison Butker kicks a long field goal. Maybe Tampa loses either way. but you got to maximize your opportunity. You got to maximize your chance to win. And yesterday, we saw an organization that didn't do it. And there's a reason why one team is undefeated, and there's a reason why one team is 4-5 and probably going to miss the postseason.
I talk a lot on this show about process over results, and Todd Bowles' process was moronic. He got out-coached in the last 2 minutes like you wouldn't believe. Let's talk about the play leading up to the touchdown, because Trey Palmer catches the ball, and they get down to the 1-yard line, and there are 33 seconds remaining, clock's running. I do not understand for the life of me why Todd Bowles called a timeout there. It doesn't make any sense. All he was doing was setting up the Chiefs with a chance to win in regulation. Just moronic. And it's his last timeout. That's terrible. That's bad coaching right there. But don't worry, he made it worse. They then score, and as you said, he makes the decision to kick the extra point. After the Chiefs got the ball back, they completed that pass to Peyton Hendershot. They got 9 yards. I texted a buddy of mine. The Chiefs are about to win in regulation. Like, all that Todd Bowles did with that timeout and decision to kick the extra point is give more moments, more opportunities for the Chiefs to win. If he had not called timeout and the clock rolled a little bit and then they scored, you could have gone for 2. And maybe you make it, maybe you don't. But if you do, Patrick Mahomes is getting the ball back with time left in the teens. That's a dramatically different game than what Todd Bowles played out. It seemed like Todd Bowles was more than content to go in the post-game press conference and say, hey, we gave it all we got against the world champs. And that's what matters. You hold your head high. You play to win. Always play to win there. It reminds me in college football. If you get the ball second in overtime in college football, you always go for 2. You go for the win. You have a chance at the kill shot. And Todd Bowles called timeout, hemmed and hawed about the kill shot, and then kicked the extra point. Just honestly, I don't think Andy Reid handled the end of game very well. And yet, him being a -1 or a neutral was eons better than Todd Bowles, who looked like he had never coached into a football game ever.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, what if they had won the toss, though? Well, I guess my response would be, is it easier, for those of you that gamble, is it easier for you to hit one straight bet or for you to hit a parlay? Because in this scenario, you can hit your straight bet, right? Your straight bet is go for the 2-point conversion. And the percentages say you have around a 47% chance of making your 2-point conversion. So you can just go for the 2-point conversion right there and take the lead. You can take the lead with less than 30 seconds left in the game. So you can go for it there. Or you can now kick. And now you are hoping to hit a 3-leg parlay, right? You are hoping to stop Kansas City as they have time remaining. You are then hoping to win the coin toss, and then you have to go score a touchdown to win the game. That's simple. So is it easier for you? Is it easier for one thing to happen, or is it easier for 3 things to happen? Because when you made the decision to kick the extra point, you chose the 3-leg parlay over the straight bet. That's what happened. It's that simple. You had an opportunity right then and there. And again, I don't know how the rest of the game comes out. Maybe they run a fade route and it gets stopped. That's possible, right? People lose straight bets. It's far more likely you're going to lose that parlay than you're going to lose that straight bet. You got a chance at hitting it. Parlays are tough to do in that scenario. Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, when they didn't go for 2, I celebrated. Not going for 2 dramatically increased the Chiefs' chance of winning. Exactly. This is the rule that I would implement if I'm the rest of the league. I would never do something that makes the Chiefs happy. Never. There is no scenario in which I would do what I think Andy or Patrick want me to do. If they really want Xavier Worthy, you're not getting Xavier Worthy from me. If they're down a receiver, I'm not giving you DeAndre Hopkins and giving you money so he can go play for you. No. I'm not kicking. That's what you want me to do. You want me to kick the extra point. No. There will never be a scenario in which I do that if I'm another team. It's just even more unbelievable to me because these guys earlier in the day, they were standing on the logo. They had the we're coming in and we're going to spoil things for you energy. And then at the end, I thought you were big dogs. You guys ended up being small puppies at the end of the game. It's weak. It's weak. You know what, Rob? I remember I reached this point with the Patriots. And it's kind of what you just said. It's not that I think the Patriots are smarter than everybody else. I think the rest of the league is just dumb sometimes. I think they're just dumb. They're just dumb. They'll trade 4 draft picks to go get the one player in hopes that it'll work. And the Patriots, no, we're the Patriots. We're not doing that. I think the Chiefs kind of have that energy now. I'm not sure if the Chiefs are just smarter than the rest of the league. They're just not dumb. They're just not dumb. The Chiefs know the overtime rules in the postseason. That's the easiest thing to do. We know the rules. Other teams don't know the rules. I don't know how you don't know the rules. Other teams don't know the rules. Maybe it's because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, so they just have like a built-in advantage. But at the end of the game, you just have to know that they got Michael Jordan on the other side. They got Tiger Woods on the other side. You know they got Tiger Woods on the other side. And that's how you decided to carry it. That's how you decided to play it at the end of the game. It doesn't make any sense. Coming up on the other side, let's wrap up the NFL trade deadline. We'll go through all the moves, and we'll recap them with Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Creed. Are You Ready Tour with very special guests, 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH. This Wednesday night, T-Mobile Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH on the Are You Ready Tour.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the rock holiday tradition returns. Saturday, December 7th, 2 shows, T-Mobile Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Bring the whole family to the all-new show. Soaring guitars, dazzling lasers, and enough pyro to keep you warm all season. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Let's talk about the buying experience at Lewisburg Ford.
It's the best anywhere. Just ask all our customers, Toby. It is hands down the best experience you can have buying a new car. We have the no-hassle Toby Tobin price that we've had for 35 years now. Nobody else can say that. We've been saving Kansas City thousands and thousands of dollars for a lot of years.
I have been buying Ford cars and trucks from Lewisburg Ford for over 30 years, and I know personally this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck. Great prices, but there's a whole lot more than that.
It doesn't just stop at price, Toby.
Yeah.
There's other factors to this equation, and it's trade-in allowance, financing, and the experience of how knowledgeable the people are that you're dealing with. And we surpass everybody in all those areas. We always have. We always will. That's why calling us is important.
Do you have that new pickup?
Absolutely. And it's dynamite.
Okay. Lewisburg Ford is your best place to buy a Ford car or truck. What's your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Lewisburg Ford or lewisburgford.com.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Winchester at Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Independence is the largest manufacturer of small caliber ammunition for the U.S. military. They're hiring technicians starting at $26.72 an hour with a $1,000 hiring bonus. Excellent day one benefits include medical, dental, educational support, paid time off, and company retirement contributions up to 8%. Join Winchester and serve the U.S. warfighter. It's more than a job. It's a mission. Apply at winchester.com/careers.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Had a crash eastbound 435 at State Line Road. It is off to the shoulder, but expect some distraction around it. Two-car crash on the far east side, eastbound 70 to 7 Highway, and seeing some brake lights on the southern lane of the downtown loop. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Justin Reed. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, the trade deadline has come and gone. The Chiefs have not made any additional moves. DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Uche, those are their two moves. They tried to make a move for Marshawn Lattimore, but he is now the newest member of the Commanders. Let's head to the phone lines right now to wrap up the NFL trade deadline with our dear friend Matt Verderam. He is with Sports Illustrated, joining us on the show today. Matt, you know what, man? The NFL got this thing right. They pushed the NFL trade deadline, hoping to get a little bit more action and more moves, and that's exactly what we've seen.
Yeah, I look, we had some pretty big moves. I mean, Lattimore obviously is the headliner today, but, Zadarius Smith goes over to Detroit. That was rumored to happen for a while. There's some smaller moves as well throughout the course of the day. And there were some guys who didn't get moved. Guys like Darius Slayton, who I thought might go. In New Orleans, I thought Chase Young might go. He doesn't go. Paulson Debo, a few other guys. But, yeah, there was, pretty good flurry of activity. Travius White, look, I think at this point, unfortunately for him, the injuries kind of sapped him of a lot of his abilities. But, there were a good amount of moves, and, of course, Lattimore to Washington, the big one.
So let's start with Lattimore. Let's start from the Kansas City perspective on things. How in on Lattimore do you think the Chiefs were?
I think they were in. I think they were significantly in, but they were never going to be into that price. I mean, they were not giving up a third and a fourth and a sixth. That was never happening. Now, I know New Orleans said back a fifth. I think the top of the mark for the Chiefs would have been a third-round pick. I don't think they would have gone to a second. Could they have gone to Tennessee's third, which isn't that far from their second? Maybe. But I don't think they would have gone further than a third. I think that probably would have been the line of delineation. And I don't blame them. I think for most teams, a third-round pick was probably about the limit. And Washington's got a ton of picks. And obviously a quarterback on a rookie deal, so they've got some flexibility both now and in the long term there. So for Washington, it was a little easier to get the job done. It's a haul. I mean, for the Saints, it's a pretty good trade. Yes, you're losing one of your best players, but the Saints have to have a full-blown rebuild going on anyway. So for the Chiefs, I do think they had real legitimate interest. I know from talking to people that they wanted to try to find a corner today or in the last couple days, but that price is going to be prohibitive.
Yeah, I mean, that price was certainly pretty steep. I mean, this entire time, I just didn't really know if the Chiefs were going to be serious players for Lattimore. Like, we kind of know the moves that the Chiefs have liked. I mean, this isn't the first time that the trade deadline has come up, and they go pick up a McCole Hardman, or they go pick up Kadarius Toney, or this year they go get D-Hop. Like, they're usually about they're not really going to give you a third-round pick, and they're also not going to take on a lot of cap space. So when I saw a 28-year-old corner who was available on the market, I knew that he was going to go for a little bit more. I mean, there's a scarcity at the position, and there's a lot of teams that need corner help. So I never really thought that you were going to be able to get Lattimore on the cheap. So I completely understand the Chiefs trying, and you got to do your due diligence. I also think that they were willing to give up one of their third-round picks, but there was always going to be a team that kind of swooped in and outbid you just because of that position and also the player.
Yeah, and you know what? Look, Lattimore was the best available player on the market today. So, there was always going to be a little bit of that. If you're the Chiefs, I think you probably were motivated to at least stay engaged in talks based on what you've seen the last couple of weeks. I mean, let's call it what it is. Joshua Williams has gotten picked on the last couple of games. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. The Buccaneers, I was at that game last night. The Buccaneers relentlessly went at the opposite side of the field away from Trent McDuffie. I mean, just over and over and over, and had a lot of success doing it with receivers who most people couldn't even name. It's a problem. And, look, this week they might get Najee Johnson back from a concussion. Does he fix some of that? Maybe. They better hope so, because I don't know that Jalen Watson has any real shot at coming back this year. And other than that, you're talking about an undrafted rookie in Christian Roland Wallace. Maybe if a vet gets cut late in the season, you see guys every once in a blue moon, that'll happen. But, pencils are down now. You've got who you've got, and the Chiefs, they have a stud McDuffie. Connor's proven he can really play, but they do have a hole on that side, and they're going to have to figure it out.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated here. Let's talk more specifically about the Commanders and this move. I like this move. I like this move probably more for what it means and it represents. I mean, Washington is a fan base that is starved for success. They got a legitimate chance of winning that division. They got a legitimate chance of going to the Super Bowl this year when you think about how wide open the NFC is. So it makes a lot of sense to me. Quarterback on a rookie deal, new owner, first-year head coach, at least for them. You want to kind of really plant your flag as, hey, we are a different organization. We are a different team. It makes sense to me that if any team was going to overspend today, and I think of all the trades that have happened, they're probably the one team that is overspent for who they acquired. It makes sense to me that it would be an organization like Washington.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite ready to go to a Super Bowl, but I agree with you everywhere else. I mean, I think they're a team that can win the division. They can win a playoff game. They can be interesting. And to your point, and I think it's the most important one with them, that fan base has had virtually nothing to be excited about for 30 years. 30 years. I mean, I understand a new front office, a new coach, a new owner saying, you know what, we've got to show that we're not the same old, Washington football team, Commanders, whatever. Like, you've got to show that same old franchise. Hey, we're in this thing. We're going to try to win. And again, they had a lot of picks, and they can take on that contract because what the hell? What do they care? I mean, Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. They don't have a ton of big contracts on that team. Jonathan Allen, McLaurin, but they're not paying a lot of huge salaries. So Lattimore coming over, they can absorb it. And if you're Washington, you are sitting there at 7-2 and looking at the conference. You're going, all right, Detroit's probably better. We understand that. If the Niners get healthy and get right, they're better. After that, I don't know. Who's better? Maybe the Packers if Love can get healthy and play to his potential. But, I mean, it's not – that conference is not good beyond Detroit and, again, the potential of San Francisco.
Which team do you think had a better trade deadline? Do you think it's the Lions or the Steelers?
The Lions. The Lions. I don't love the Mike Williams trade to the Steelers. I mean, you gave up a fifth-round pick for a guy who was a talented player. He's hurt all the time. And when he played for the Jets this season, he did not look good. I like Preston Smith. That's one of those classic build on a strength moves, right? I mean, they've already got a great edge rush. Bring another guy. But the Lions getting Zadarius Smith, he's not a great player, but he's a real quality vet. You know, he's a guy who 5 sacks this season. Now, granted, you're always going to benefit from the fact you're playing opposite of Myles Garrett, but he gives them a pass rusher who in a playoff game, the guy matters. And, you know, Carrington, you and I have talked on and off the air about this kind of stuff. Like, I am a big believer when you're a contending team and you're acquiring a guy at a deadline, can that guy make a difference in a playoff game? That's why, you know, you and I have spoken. I like the Hopkins trade, and we saw it last night for the Chiefs. That guy can have a game or two. He just takes the game over, and there's nothing you're doing about it. Smith is not quite that low player. I mean, Hopkins will be in the Hall of Fame one day, but he's a good player, and he's a guy, yeah, I can see him having 2 sacks in the NFC title game and really making a difference. So I like the move for Detroit.
I mean, Matt, I think it goes without saying that Kansas City has been trying to acquire DeAndre Hopkins for probably 3 years, you could maybe say, maybe a little shorter than that. And yesterday, and just really the first half of the game, it was exactly why. That catch that he made down the middle of the field, the first touchdown catch that he had, I mean, that's why the Chiefs went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. That's why they brought him in for a visit a year and a half ago. That's why he has just always kind of been floating in the atmosphere for Kansas City. Is you add that guy to this offense, and with that quarterback and that head coach, you can do something similar to what he did against Tampa Bay.
They would never have won that game on Monday night without DeAndre Hopkins. Never. Never. I mean, I don't even think it's arguable, right? I mean, if they don't have him, there's nobody making that catch. There's nobody winning that easily on a slant in the end zone. It just walks in. You know, in overtime, he makes a catch on the sideline. They're like, all right, he gets, 6 yards or spins away from a guy, breaks it for 13, 14 yards, whatever it was. Those plays are huge winning time plays. Those are plays that you've got to have it, no problem. Those are third down, got to have conversions. They had 3rd and goal. They hit him for a touchdown in the back of the end zone. They understood, the hole in the zone. Boom, sits down. Mahomes sees it. Easy touchdown. Like, again, is he the guy he was 6 years ago? Who among us is? Okay? But he is the kind of a player in a big game that, yeah, he's capable of having 9 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you look at the game, it's the difference. I mean, I would argue in Monday night, on Monday night, he was the difference. He was the singular biggest difference. Yeah, Kelsey had 14 catches. He had a great game. Hunt had another 100-yard effort, really solid effort out of him. The Halls, they all played very, very well. They don't win without Hopkins in that game, and that's why they went out and they got him.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verderam for a couple more minutes here, just getting his thoughts on Monday Night Football, also getting his thoughts on the NFL trade deadline. I do want to get back to Monday Night Football in a bit, but before I do that, can you give me any idea what the Cowboys are doing? Because to make that trade and then give up at that cost, I mean, of all the moves that we saw at the deadline, that's one of the more confusing, head-scratching moves of the day.
That move's ridiculous. And I can't remember at this point. I've written and talked about it, the deadline so much. If I wrote it or said it a couple days ago, you knew the Cowboys were going to do something like this because it's sheriff. They can't accept the fact they're just not good. They are the Jets of the NFC. They are horribly run. They don't have a real coach. They're under 500, and they're out here just trading picks to chase some goal of theirs. It doesn't realistically exist. They're not good. They're 3-5, and Prescott's out for weeks on end here, maybe a month. Like, you're done. By the time he gets back, you're done. Your season is over. And to give up a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, look, I get it. He's on a rookie deal. He's got 2 years left. Yes. And yet Carolina traded him because he's been bad throughout his career. He has 12 catches this year. There's no world that should have cost more than a 6th, maybe a 7th that turns into a 6th. I mean, you're talking about the Bills got Cooper for the value of a 4th because they gave up a 3rd. They got to pick back. The Chiefs gave up a 5th that could turn into a 4th potentially for Hopkins. You traded the same value for Jonathan Mingo? I mean, that is the most Jerry Jones thing imaginable.
Matt, give me a sneaky move that has maybe fallen under the radar that you maybe like a little bit more. Because I'm a little surprised that you don't like the Mike Williams move. I actually think that makes sense for the Steelers. They have been desperate trying to get a wide receiver for seemingly the last 4 months. They finally get one at a decent cost. I think Mike Williams is just in a better situation. It was obvious that he was on the outside looking in with the Jets, and I think a change of scenery could be good for him. Also, an organization that makes a lot of sense with wide receivers. So I actually really like that move. I think that's a move that's kind of fallen in under the radar. But what's your move?
You know, I don't know that there was a ton that I look at and go, that move was quiet but impactful. I think the Bengals getting Khalil Herbert is a move that kind of shores the position up for them. I mean, Zach Moss has a neck injury, and we'll see when he returns. They have Chase Brown, a very good game against the Raiders, but it's been pretty uneven this year. Herbert's a good running back. He's only had a handful of touches this year. Literally, I think it's 8 touches this season or 8 rushes because Roshan Johnson's passing up in the depth chart. But, you know, Herbert is a guy who over the last 2 years combined has almost 1,400 rushing yards. Look, I don't think all of a sudden, oh, my God, they're going to go out and have, you know, a ground and pound attack in Cincinnati you can't stop. But I think he could be kind of similar to a Kareem Hunt move for the Chiefs, a guy who can get you that 4 yards of carry, shore up that running back rotation. Is he a game changer? No. I don't think he'll have quite the impact Hunt did because Hunt obviously stepped into the starting role for Checo. But I think he can be a good player and somebody who helps the Bengals kind of figure it out as they work back from the Moss injury.
Last question here, Matt, and I appreciate your time. We were just talking about this before you hopped on. I cannot believe that Tampa Bay didn't go for 2 near the end of regulation. Maybe you lose, right? Like maybe you don't convert the 2-point conversion. Maybe the Chiefs down 1. Mahomes has a greater sense of urgency and takes them down the field. But you at least have to give yourself a chance to win the game. And all they did was buy themselves a prolonged experience for it to end to the place that we all knew it was going to end. They ended up losing on Monday night. I can't believe they didn't go for it.
I like Todd Bowles. That is one of the dumbest decisions I have seen from a coach in years. I mean, that was, and look, was not a dumb guy. Like, that's why that was so surprising. Todd Bowles is a very smart guy who, if you've ever spent even 2 minutes around him or listening to him, like, this is a guy who understands the game. I could not believe Carrington, I'll be honest with you. Again, I was at the game last night. I just automatically assumed the entire drive they were going to go for it. It never even entered my mind they were going to kick an extra point.
Me too. Same here, Matt.
I just figured, well, if you're them, you're the inferior team on the road, you're beat up. Like, what is your best shot to win that conversion attempt? Essentially, or you kick an extra point, you give the Chiefs the ball, which with enough time to do something. Now they didn't. They ended up not scoring at the end of the fourth quarter. But then it's a coin toss, and you know if you don't get the ball, there's a pretty good chance you're never going to see it. I couldn't believe it. I really thought for a smart coach, a guy I have a lot of respect for, I thought that was one of the more perplexing decisions I've seen. And I thought Mayfield's body language kind of said it all. When they lost that toss, you're like, yeah, they're probably going to lose. And, they kind of got the fate I feel like that they deserve.
That is our guy, Matt Verderam, joining us on the show today to recap Monday Night Football and also recap the NFL trade deadline. Matt, great stuff, man. I appreciate you as always.
Anytime, man. Take care.
Absolutely. That's Matt Verderam joining us on the show. I know I'm not the only person that has noticed this, but it's just a funny thing to think about and talk about. 913-586-7965. Is there another human being, another coach, another person that would fit this category that has the same expression every time the camera cuts to them? It doesn't matter what is happening in the game. Todd Bowles has the same look on his face. You can't tell based at Todd Bowles' expression if the Bucks are up 27-0 or down 27-0. When they show Bill Self on the sideline, sometimes he's happy. Sometimes he's upset. Sometimes he's fired up. Sometimes he's yelling at a player. Sometimes he's yelling at the official. You're watching Bill Self work. You're watching him coach. I've never seen Todd Bowles do anything on the sideline. They don't show him talking to anybody. They don't show him talking in the headset. He just has the same face and same expression every time they cut over there. Rob, have you seen, am I the only person that has noticed this with Todd Bowles? There has to be other people that have noticed this every time they cut to that man on the sideline. I can't be the only person.
I think what you're describing is the Manning face, the person who always has the same face. Like, there is something to be said for being stoic and calm as a head coach.
He doesn't look stoic, though.
He just looks like he's confused by what's happening on the football field. Now, there was one camera angle where he was upset by a holding call that I thought was a little bit soft, but other than being upset at the officials, he just kind of out there. He's a spectator. He might as well have popcorn and peanuts. He's just in there watching the game.
Yeah, every single time, man. Somebody said Matt Eberflus. He never not looks confused. I wouldn't even say that Todd Bowles' face is one of confusion. He doesn't look confused. He's just there. He's just there. Like, he has the face that you would have on if you were in an elevator and it was a bunch of people around that you just didn't know. That's what it looks like. You're just standing there looking forward. You're not talking to anybody. I'm trying to get off the elevator. That's the face that he has every single time that they show him on the screen, man. It's remarkable that they do this. I noticed it last night. They kept showing him on the sideline, and that's the face that he had. I do want to make this quick point here. I want to give Baker Mayfield a lot of credit for what we saw him do last night. That's a team that couldn't run the football because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs and no one runs the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs, and you were down all of your wide receivers. And the fact that Tampa scored 24 points, the fact that Tampa put a drive together there at the end and could have given themselves a chance to take the lead late, your quarterback deserves a lot of credit. Now, they lost the game. But Baker, on the road, threw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, didn't turn the football over. His leading running back had 24 yards rushing yesterday, and they basically had no wide receivers. Their wide receivers were Sterling Shepard and Trey Palmer and Raheem Jarrett. Those were their wide receivers. To put a drive together against the team that I think has the best defense of 10 plays, 71 yards, and do that in less than 10 minutes on the road in the conditions that they were in, I got to tip my cap to Baker Mayfield. Now, sure, they lost that game. They didn't lose that game because of quarterback play. They lost that game because of quarterback play on the other side. They lost that game because their defense couldn't get off the field on third down. They lost that game because Kareem Hunt is right now one of the more productive backs in the National Football League. They couldn't cover Travis Kelce because the Chiefs made the trade for DeAndre Hopkins. We can go through a list of reasons why the Buccaneers lost yesterday. Baker Mayfield is not in the top 10. He was very impressive yesterday.
Obviously, the number one reason why the Bucs lost is coaching, like we talked about earlier in the hour. Like that, Mahomes is
I guess maybe not coaching. I thought this the whole time, and maybe this the last drive at the end. I still don't know if they have enough dogs to go win that game. Like, it's really hard to beat Kansas City anyway. It's really hard to beat them if you're as one-dimensional as they were yesterday. I mean, we're talking about, it's not like Tampa was great offensively yesterday, but again, given the weapons that you have and given the scenario on the road against that defense, I don't really know how much better you could have been. The point that I would say and that we do agree about is your coaching didn't see the urgency of the situation and to go for it. You're a 12 seed in the NCAA tournament, and you've got the 5 seed on the rope. You're the 13 seed. You're a mid-major that we've never heard of before, and you're going against North Carolina. Take the 3 at the end of the game. Don't try to send this game to overtime. If you got to play 5 more minutes against that team and you're already in foul trouble, you are losing that game. That's where I'm frustrated with Todd Bowles, and that's where I think the frustration should lie is, hey, you got Kansas City a little bit on the ropes, and you let them off the hook last night.
That's the thing. I don't think Todd Bowles was a bad coach. I mean, that's aggressive by me. But when the moment was the brightest, he seemed content to let Kansas City take the moment from him. For sure. And to your point about Baker Mayfield, we use this term a lot in sports. Oh, he's a gamer. And we mostly use it as it's like the gym rat, coach's son. We use gamer a lot in the same way. But there's something about Baker Mayfield, and we saw it at Oklahoma, and then it disappeared out of his existence, but now it's back. Man, he's just a gamer. He's going to make just enough plays to keep you in the game and give you a chance to win every single night. There is something likable about Baker Mayfield. If anything, Maybe maybe they don't get it, maybe they lose, but the fact that Todd Bowles took the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hand and instead said, hey, defense, you've given up 20 plus tonight, go win us a game, is very foolish to me. And we get a little robbed as NFL fans. We don't get to see Baker get a chance.
Coming up on the other side, we'll talk about Jason Kelsey and his apology before the game for something that happened this weekend. We'll play it for you next. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Touchdown, Renner! Almost Andy Reid here. You know, a few years ago, my wife surprised me with tickets to a Halloween ball. And guess what? That night I discovered a new passion. Now I've added to that passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company of all time. Renner offers top-notch repair services, new doors, and LiftMaster openers. It's the perfect 3-peat forward and back, RENNER with Renner. You'll stay on the championship track. Visit rennerdoor.com.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got emergency vehicles tending to a crash. Southbound 69 at 151st Street, closing the right lane. Traffic backing up almost all the way to 435. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
All right, we didn't talk about this yesterday. Didn't really have the time to. I'm sure by now you guys have seen the video. Jason Kelce, my apologies. Jason Kelce was walking, minding his own business. Man comes up to him, says a homophobic slur to him. Jason Kelce reacted, grabbed his phone, Gronk spiked it off the ground, and kept on minding his business. Now, this was caught on video, so Jason Kelce, when you got $1 million job and a lot of people are depending on you, you have to do the public apology. He did so yesterday. Here is the audio, courtesy of ESPN.
Listen, I think everybody's seen on social media everything that took place this week. I just want to, listen, I'm not happy with anything that took place. I'm not proud of it. And, in a heated moment, I chose to greet hate with hate. And I just don't think that that's a productive thing. I really don't. I don't think that, it leads to discourse and it's the right way to go about things. And in that moment, I fell down to a level that I shouldn't have. So I think the bottom line is, I want to live my life. I try to live my life by the golden rule. That's what I've always been taught. I try to treat people with common decency and respect, and I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. Even though I fell short this week, I'm going to do that moving forward and continue to do that. So, I think we got a game to focus on. Obviously, a matchup. I don't think this is the platform to necessarily go into more detail. So get ready for this Chiefs game.
So that was Jason Kelce yesterday in his apology for what happened in the video. This is my thought about it. I don't know if this is a devil's advocate take, and I want to be clear. I am on Jason Kelce's side of the argument, but I was really, really surprised to see that the internet was so firmly on his side. Like, the core of the message that I think the Jason Kelce video shows us is your words have real life consequences. That's not really how the internet acts. So I was really surprised when person said something pretty inappropriate to Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce then reacts and responds to the disrespect in, I would say, a very aggressive way. And everybody's like, yeah, that's what you get. That's the message from this? Because we all are on the internet. What that guy said to Jason Kelce is kind of commonplace. Rob, we don't have many rules on the text line, but we eventually have to block people, right? There's not many rules on the text line. I get called names all the time on the text line. I most of the time don't care. The only rules on the text line are don't be homophobic, don't be racist, and don't spam the text line. As long as you avoid those three things, I will leave you alone. You want to call me a blanking idiot, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't really bother me. I'll continue to move on. So I was really, really surprised that now the message is, hey, maybe we shouldn't talk to people like this. I was surprised that was resonating so much on the internet, because if everybody on the internet actually believed that, the internet would be a far healthier place than I think that it currently is. And I was also surprised at this. Do you think that the response for Jason is that way because of what was said or who it was said about? Because let's say in this scenario, and I won't even make it a racial thing. Let's say that somebody had came up to Joey Bosa and said that your brother is a homophobic slur for wearing the hat that he wore on Sunday Night Football. And that is how Joey Bosa responded. I'm not really sure if the internet would all be on his side. I think they would say that he got triggered, right? If Joey Bosa had grabbed somebody's phone for making fun of his brother for something that he did, I'm not really sure if the internet would have responded the same way that they did with Jason Kelce. So I at least want to be very clear. I don't have any issues with what Jason Kelce did. Jason Kelce was minding his own business. He wasn't bothering anybody. That guy comes up to him, and he got back the energy that he put into the world. He wanted Jason Kelce to react. He reacted. Now, Jason has to buy the guy a new phone. I don't think you can just grab people's phone and break it, but I don't think the $700 phone is really that much of a problem for Jason Kelce. And if that's the case, Apple, you guys should give Jason Kelce the phone to give to this individual. But if the lasting message from this is, and I'm not sure that it was, is, hey, you can't talk to everybody like that because it can end up very badly for you. If that is the message that we get from this, then I'm telling you the internet and society would be a much happier place than what it is. That man, what's the saying on the internet? Blank around and find out. That's what he did. Exactly what he did. He went up there talking smart, which I don't know why you would do that to a former NFL offensive lineman. It just doesn't seem like the individual that I would be talking like that to. He's happy that the only thing that was broken was his phone. Because if Jason Kelce had smacked him and that individual, I'm cool with that. But I also on the side of, again, you get back the energy that you give in life. And I try not to talk crazy to people because I don't want to be smacked. That's normally a good way to live. I'm not trying to get any fisticuffs, so I try to avoid fisticuffs activities. I was just a little bit surprised that the internet seemed so unanimous on Jason's side, because the internet, I would say, usually in practicality does almost the opposite of what this message, what the video was trying to portray.
Is it possible that the response being so overwhelmingly positive is because people, and even internet people, are tired of, I forget keyboard warriors getting away with things, and it's finally nice to see, and man, that's a poor term. It is nice to see it. Hey, it doesn't work like that in society. I think that was part of the positive response that Jason Kelce got, is there is a sense from all people who are on the internet, hey, when your nameless, faceless X account or your nameless, faceless person on Facebook arguing in the comments, and to an extent our text line is this way too, you can kind of say and do whatever you want, but when you put that out into the real world, there are consequences for your actions. So I wonder if the internet was happy or responded positively to what Jason Kelce did, because there's a sense of, hey, we got to turn the tide, because you can't just say whatever you want on Twitter anymore or Facebook or whatever. This is just seeing that in real time.
Yeah, but I guess though, and I hear what you're saying is, and maybe I'm trying to insert hypothetical scenario in a situation that doesn't really need any. If we saw an athlete go up to a fan that said something crazy at the game and they approached them like this, would our response be the exact same? Like, let's say that this fan had said it the exact same way in the game, because I think we can agree in society, we sort of have this, I pay for a ticket, I pay for your salary, I can talk to you any way that I want to. But this happens in the NBA all the time. And usually we look at the NBA players as the one that are being sensitive in this scenario. If that guy had said that same thing to Jason while he was playing for the Eagles, and he does the exact same thing, he is walking off the field, the guy has his phone, he says this inappropriate thing to him, he grabs his phone and spikes it. Are we having that same feeling toward this incident? That's the thing that, to me, I just think there's a lot of weird tentacles here with the Jason Kelce situation that, again, I'm not against Jason in this scenario. I'm just really surprised that we were okay with the 30-something-year-old man grabbing the teenager's phone and spiking it the way that he did. And everybody is on that side. I'm just a little bit surprised, because that's usually not the way that we are. We are the what about society and try to make excuses all the time. But this time, this just seems pretty cut and dry. Yo, you shouldn't have been talking blank. All right, that's cool. Why don't we all just follow that? Again, everybody would be happier if we took the core message of this. Leave people alone. That's it. Leave people alone. If you leave people alone, you'll be fine.
I agree. I also think I get what you're saying about the tentacles, but I think it's a little bit different of a scenario if it's a person in the stands yelling at an athlete. Not that it makes it okay, but it's different. I think why this one was met with such positive responses, in theory, both Jason Kelce and the individual who's screaming at him are both just fans going to the Penn State game. Like, the one guy is filming him and heckling him, and in theory, Jason Kelce is just a guy walking to the game with a case of garage beer in his hand. That's what it felt like. They were on equal footing. To your football point, if you're screaming down at an athlete, like what happened to Ron Artest, and he does the same thing, it's a different situation. So I think we meet different situations with different responses because the variables are all different.
Someone said, has the individual whose phone got smashed came forward for his 15 minutes of fame? I don't think anyone is on his side. I think that Jason Kelce should get the guy another phone. That's it. I just think Jason Kelce should get him another phone. I think that's the end of it. I don't think he needs to be punished. I don't think he needs to be suspended from ESPN. I don't think he should lose any sponsors from this. He commented yesterday on Monday Night Football. That is nearly enough to me. I do think that you should get the guy another phone. I don't think the guy said something you don't like. I don't think you can just grab his property and spike it and then walk off and then not have to pay for it at the end. I don't know if you can do that. So as long as he buys that kid another phone, sure, I'm perfectly fine with it. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined in studio by Mitch Holtz, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got emergency vehicles tending to a crash. Southbound 69 at 151st Street, closing the right lane. Traffic backing up almost all the way to 435. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at Robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at Robinhood.com/election.
If you had the crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You'd just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. You don't need a crystal ball with TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You can literally sell now and stay in your home as long as you like. When you sell your home to TrueHold for its best current value, you can fully cash out your home's equity, and you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance too. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get an offer now while your home's value is sky high, and use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's current best value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. As voice of Chiefs Kingdom, he's seen the lowest of lows and the highest of highs.
You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.
Your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Here's Mitch Holtis with CDOT on The Drive.
Mitch Holtis is running a little bit late. He's going to be on the show here coming up in the next 2 minutes. He just texted Rob to tell him, so we certainly can pass some time until Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joins us. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we are going to get through all of the moves that have happened at the NFL trade deadline. If you were at work and missed some things, we're certainly going to update you on everything that has happened. The Chiefs were in, I would say, until the final hour for Marshawn Lattimore. He has gone to the Washington Commanders, so the Commanders go out and they make a move. They make a trade to go get, I think, the best available player today in the trade deadline. I want to read to you guys a tweet really quickly from Albert Breer of NFL Network. The Chiefs have become the Tom Brady Patriots. It doesn't matter who's hurt. It doesn't matter who's left. It doesn't even matter if the quarterback is banged up. The result feels inevitable every time. I was joking around with Nate Taylor yesterday that, man, every Chiefs game is the same. Now, I know that we go into these games and the other team will do some form of disrespect, right? Oh, man, Chiefs are going to blow them out. No, probably not. Yesterday, I would say Tampa Bay had a little bit of disrespect, right? Tampa Bay jumps on the logo. Oh, that's it. The Chiefs have had it. They're going to blow them out. No, they're not going to. Out of the Chiefs' last 11 home games, they have won those games by 66 points. Every Chiefs game is a one-possession close ball game. Every single one. They just figure out a way to win. That's exactly what they did yesterday. They are hurt. They are banged up. The quarterback did almost leave with an injury. They just always figure out a way to win. That has been the embodiment of this team for the last 5 to 6 years, and that is very, very similar to Tom Brady's New England Patriots. We are very happy to welcome in Mitch Holtis in studio. Mitch, I know your heart dropped when Mahomes, for a second there, we didn't know what was going on with Mahomes. Everybody was saying different things. I thought it was an ankle sprain. I didn't think it was anything too more serious than that. And I also think it was important that he started getting help from the trainers, but as they probably got about 10, 20 yards, he then was able to walk off on his own power. I felt pretty confident that it wasn't at least something, a long-term injury for Mahomes there, but there was a 2-3 minute stretch where it was pretty scary times to be a Chiefs fan, and we haven't experienced that in a long time.
No, but I think that he's played with such pain throughout his career with the ankle and foot and more than we know. But I'm with you as far as the training staff and the doctors giving him attention right away and understanding it. I was still had a lot of trepidation because he's inside the blue tent. But when he came out of the tent and he's starting to move around the sideline and even jogging a little bit, I thought, okay, we're good to go. But what we need to realize is how good the infrastructure is of this team, and that includes, like Rick Burkholder, Vice President for Performance and Athletic Training, and his staff, Tiffany Morton. I'm going to leave somebody out. You go down the line, Julie Freimeyer and David Glover and others, but then also the docs. But, yeah, I mean, my heart sank like everybody else, but he was out there, and he's one tough dude. We underrated. I think it's the most underrated part of him, other than his unselfishness and his good heart, is his toughness. That's one tough dude.
I think at times I've been kind of waiting to see the old Mahomes, just the MVP, the guy that looks like the best quarterback in the league. And I'm not sure if we've seen that pretty consistently. Yesterday on third down, you can't be any better than what he was on third down yesterday. That, you know, this team, they are having a little bit of turnover. They do have a different running back. They do have some different wide receivers. For this team to be nearly perfect on third down yesterday, there's a lot of reasons how the Chiefs won that game yesterday, and we'll get to D-Hop. We'll get to some of the other things. They won that game because they stayed on the field and kept possession and just kept grinding the clock down. And just ultimately, if you run 30, 35 more plays than your opposition, you're going to win the football game.
And the fact that it's been really 3 games. They're number 1 in the league now in third down percentage. And the fact that they've been so good in the red zone. 3 weeks ago, they were tied for 28th in the league in red zone touchdown efficiency. They're 11 of their last 13 in the red zone
Kareem Hunt.
touchdowns. It's crazy.
Kareem Hunt, yeah.
So they've gone from tied for 28th to 12th. And one thing that's overlooked, too, about Mahomes this season, everybody talks about, man, his numbers are off and had the interceptions. And he is still, I believe, right now, the second-rated fourth-quarter passer in the National Football League. So even though it's like the baseball player's batting average is down, but he's still getting the hits to drive home 3 runs when it counts the most. That's what Patrick's doing.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. His appearance on the show is presented by Silverstein Eye Center. Achieve your best vision and experience outstanding patient care at Silverstein Eye Center, and also by GEHA. They are a proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. I made this analogy earlier. I'm sure there was something that you really wanted, and maybe you just couldn't afford it at a time. But you were like, man, if that goes on sale.
That's my life.
Yeah, if that goes on sale, I'm going to buy that. Man, you just were marking the days down. Eventually, you finally bought it. And when you brought that thing home, it was everything that you thought it was going to be. Like, man, I should have got this thing sooner. This was incredible. That's what happened with DeAndre Hopkins yesterday. They have been waiting to get D-Hop for 3 years, and they knew in this offense that is the kind of player that he could be. And they saw that 2 games in yesterday. You mentioned the red zone. They were really good because that slant route, they don't have anybody else on their team that can run that slant route right now other than him. And for them to kind of have this player circled and keep waiting till they could get him at the absolute right price and in really 2 weeks, integrate him into the offense where he can have 90 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. That's a testament not only to him, but also this coaching staff getting him ready for the moment.
It's you wanting the gold-plated headphones that are like really cool, and everybody's like, wow. And you're like, man, I've always wanted them, can't afford it. Then you go to like a garage sale. It's like 3 years later, and there they are, and you get them for like 20% of what you would have paid, and they still work great. That's D-Hop. The fact that 2 weeks ago, on just a couple of days of being in the building, that he makes a key third down catch to start the game, then he's into the 2-minute offense. Do you know how much they work on the 2-minute offense all year long? And he's on the 2-minute catch when they go get the field goal against the Raiders. It's like he has been with the team for years. Like he's that instinctive. But those plays he made yesterday at the goal line and the routes, and Josh Hayes is the K-State kid who, the Buccaneers are looking for answers at corner. And Josh is a really good special teams player, but he's no match for D-Hop in the red zone. For D-Hop to make those routes and catches, it's just nasty. And that 35-yarder, because I see Pat throw it, I'm shielded from the catch. I didn't look at the monitor. It's not in real time. It's for replays, basically. And so I thought, is that picked? Because it's like a 4% chance that's going to be complete. How many guys in the league could make that catch? Mike Evans? Justin Jefferson? I've asked this question today, even to the guys I was working with at Arrowhead. There's maybe 5 or less who can make that play, but D-Hop can make that play. And he can make it next week and the week after and the week after.
You know what? I want to ask you this. I wouldn't ask any other guest this question, but I'll ask you. I know you had to love when they ran the screen route to McCole Hardman. He not only made the great catch in the middle of the field, he was also willing to get his hands dirty and block.
And drilled the dude. It was so good. That's a play that I was going to bring up, actually. There's a couple plays I wanted to bring up that fans won't think about or forgot.
Mitch, I know you very well. We've done this long enough. Me and you were simpatico.
You were the one that called snap count, man. We go way back. And the fact that he made that block and then McColl's able to turn the corner, that you're going to see that play more and more too. And defenses have got to respect that. Then you're going to get a play where he's going to fake the block, peel off, and go on a seam route. And that'll be nasty. The other play is a defensive play by Turk Wharton because the Buccaneers had 3 drives, as you know. They had the ball up there 45, 49, and 41. Now, that could equal easily 21 points. With as good as that offense is good even without not as good without Godwin and Evans, but still they were productive the week before against Atlanta without those guys and against the Ravens 2 weeks ago when they lost those guys in that game. So the point I'm trying to make is Turk Wharton chases down a screen. He chases down Otten. That might have been a touchdown. Dana and I asked Dana about it when you get to visit with him, and that's just a hustle play by Turk Wharton. They get 3 and not 7. If they get another 4 points in that span somewhere, that game could have been very different. That and then D-Hop's willingness to go get dirty and make the block. Because McColl, if you give him the edge on the outside like that, it could get real interesting.
I look at you as like a Chiefs historian. Have the Chiefs ever made a move, or has there ever been a player like Kareem Hunt? I mean, in the 5 games since he's been on the team, he has 111 carries. He scores every single week for this team. Like, the toughness, and maybe this is just me projecting because of what I thought he was coming in here to be a change of pace, third down back. He's been a premier back for this team. He's been a workhorse, and we led the show with this, that the same formula that we saw this team implement to go win the Super Bowl, where it was Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce. That's the formula that they won the game with yesterday. D-Hop, Kareem Hunt, and Travis Kelce, and really leaning on those 3. They had 381 total yards. They got 312 from those 3 individuals. They really leaned into their key producers, and they grinded out a victory yesterday.
The only guys that touched the ball in overtime were those 3 and Mahomes. But that's it. So that gives you an idea, and it backs up your premise there. But the fact that what Kareem Hunt is doing for this team is giving them 2nd and 5. 2nd and 6, 3rd and 1. We're sitting here looking at these third down numbers and the red zone numbers they're eye-popping. They're blowing away the league the last 3 weeks. Is it any coincidence that it's Kareem Hunt that's given them that opportunities? It's going to be the key piece of this short week game up against the Denver Broncos, who love to get you behind the chains, the football cliche, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 9. So Kareem Hunt has mitigated those situations and given a manageable second down and third down, or making third down or making first down runs by carrying dudes. The guys that love it are the offensive line. We had Trey Smith on last night on our our Chiefs Rewind show, and he was those linemen love a back like Kareem Hunt, because I don't have to block you perfectly. I just have to block you enough. And all of a sudden, here goes Kareem Hunt just jamming up in there. And then all of a sudden, I can push you and others, and we just go get 5 more yards. That's what's going on with this team. And it's meant everything for this team. That and D-Hop, because D-Hop's influence, and I think we might have touched on this last week, it's not just when he touches the ball. Is it any coincidence that Kelsey's had 28 targets and 24 catches in 2 games, the 2 games D-Hop is on the field? So blocking on a screen for McCole, opposite Kelsey. Now all of a sudden you got to pick your poison. It's opened things up. Kareem Hunt has in his own way, and D-Hop is in his own way.
I feel like because of the kind of runner that Kareem is at this point in his career, it's really made them lean into what their strength is, really maybe as a team. The strength of their team is that interior offensive line. It's left guard, center, and right guard. And the fact that Kareem Hunt is such a in the tackles kind of runner, and it's really north and south and just kind of ram it down your throat, it's really forced them to really emphasize, we don't have to get cutesy in these scenarios. No, it's 3rd and 2. Let's turn around. Let's hand it to Kareem Hunt. Let's trust our guys to be better than their big guys, and let's go win these one-on-one matchups. That's really what they've leaned into over the course of the last month, and maybe that's just by design because that's who Kareem is at this point.
Again, your third down numbers reflect that. Your red zone numbers really reflect that with 11 out of 13. Because I talked to Kareem last night and talked with Trey, and I asked them both the same question. When you get the call, it's 3rd down and 1, 2 yards to win it, they go game over. Both of them said it. Not cocky, but Trey Smith goes, we're going in. This is it. We're going in. Oh, I love this play call. We're doing this. And Kareem's like, it's over. Start celebrating. And so the mindset they have now, those interior 3 guys and Kareem, all of a sudden – they know they're going to get 4 to 5 yards regardless of circumstance. And then that opens up your entire iPad. If I'm setting it 2nd and 5, oh my gosh, with Mahomes and the other guys we're talking about, you really have a problem now. For Denver, their hope in this game on Sunday is to do what they do very well. I mean, they're 2nd in the league in sacks. They love to force penalties on the other team. And the Chiefs, it's my thesis for next week on my Minute with Mitch, because I know you watch it every week on Channel 41 or listen to the Chiefs Radio Network, is the fact that the Chiefs, the reason they're 8-0 to this point is the hidden yards that they had a year ago against them that are for them this year. They're one of the least penalized teams in the league, I think top 3. No drops, or very few drops. Last year they led the Galaxy in drops. Okay, that puts you behind the chains in both of those instances many times. They're staying ahead of the chains and actually putting themselves in advantageous down in distance.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Mitch Holtz, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Did you think Tampa was going for 2-point conversion at the end of the 4th quarter?
I did. There's several things. There's 1,000 things going through your mind at the time. But I thought, one, this is probably their best chance to win the game. But I've thought through Todd Bowles' decision. I respect Todd Bowles. I think he's a heck of a coach. And I hope he didn't get fired over this or being 4-5. But the thing I thought more than even beating Kansas City, they've got to keep Atlanta in their sights. Atlanta's threatening to run away from them. So Atlanta's 6-3, they're 4-5, and Atlanta's playing good ball.
Atlanta also beat them both times.
So they're sitting there staring at like, wow, this thing could be gone by Thanksgiving. We got to figure this out. And I thought percentage-wise, it probably gave them the best chance. I was like Andy. When they decided to kick the PAT, I felt a sense of relief. Not that I didn't think we could stop them, but I just thought that was their best chance to win. Now, if you're Todd Bowles, and I'm trying to think through what he's thinking, even if you get the 2-point conversion, it's 27 seconds and 3 timeouts. He saw the Buffalo game of 13 seconds. All you need is a field goal. Am I going to win the game here or lose the game here? I don't necessarily win the game here, because they got 27 seconds and 3 timeouts, and Buckner can kick a 60-yard field goal. Although the conditions, a little damp and heavy air. But still, I mean, all these things are flying through his mind. Am I going to try to win or lose it here? Because even if I go ahead here by 1, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a surefire victory, not with Mahomes and that kicker.
Yeah, my thought process as I was watching it is, to me, there's two sides of the argument. I don't know if they get it, right? We have no clue of knowing it. Maybe they get the 2-point conversion. Maybe they don't get the 2-point conversion. Maybe we don't even need to have this conversation. But let's say you get the 2-point conversion. So it's really a two-step. Make the 2-point conversion, stop the Chiefs from going down the field and kicking a long field goal. Or the other thing is, take the extra point. You still got to stop them from going down the field to get a field goal. You then have to hope to win the coin toss, and then you have to score a touchdown in that scenario, because even if you get a field goal, you're now giving the Chiefs offense 4 downs. They are scoring a touchdown in there that you and I, we talk about math and analytics. There's no math for what 15 is on the other side.
No.
It is a 100% chance that they are scoring a touchdown. I don't care what the math says or what the percentages says. You could tell by Baker Mayfield's reaction when they lost the coin toss.
Video
he
the
knew.
whole night.
He knew.
His head goes back like we're done.
Everybody knew in that scenario. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
It was funny.
in that scenario, maybe you miss it. But you are the 9 seed playing the 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. If you miss shooting a 3, you can live with that.
Yeah.
But you can't play to prolong the game like they did, certainly when you don't have nearly enough bullets as the other guy.
That's the prevailing thought, and that's what I'm thinking too. I'm just trying to think, because I do respect Todd Bowles as a coach, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt as much as I can. But yeah, their best shot. I do think the fact there was 27 seconds left, and yes, giving you the fact that it's tied, you still have to prevent the field goal. But the mindset of the Chiefs change, because the mindset are now, they're thinking, well, we'll try to do what we can, but we'll go to overtime. If they're down 1, you got full-on 13-second Buffalo Bills, Kelsey and Mahomes, now D-Hop, and a guy that can make a 60-yard field goal. So it's not exactly the same. Because if the Chiefs are down 1, they're going for it, going after it. So there's a glimmer there, that, or at least a bit of it, that you could say I could see what Todd Bowles was thinking. But if it was less than 27 seconds, less than 3 timeouts, he might have gone for 2. But that's all part of the decision box.
I got 2 questions, football related, I want to get your opinion on. Let's start with the offensive side, and then we'll go to the defensive side. I don't want to say that Worthy is hitting a wall, because it's still kind of early on, but maybe he's not developing in ways that certain people kind of thought that he would as we were entering the second half of the season. What are you seeing for him, and what can he do to kind of get through this lull that he's currently going through?
Well, I've seen them all go through it at one time or another. We talk about rookie wall being I don't know, when your college season is over. No, that wall can pop up at any time throughout that first season. And I thought he was feeling like immense responsibility when Hollywood went down and Rashee went down. He doesn't have to feel that now, man. He can just relax, dude, because D-Hop is going to take care of a lot of stuff. And Justin Watson was really good last night. Those are big plays he makes, and he'll get behind the defense. They were close to hitting the 1 deep. It's not just Xavier being the only deep threat. I think it's a matter of him just backing up a little bit and understanding that just relax here. Relax. Don't sit there and grip your club on the tee box of like, God, I hope I don't hit this out of bounds. And his awareness of just understanding the field. Now, he gets pushed around, right? That was the knock on him. He's going to be smaller. He's a smaller frame. But the play at the goal or the play at the sideline, he wasn't like he was forced out of bounds by some dude knocking him out on press coverage. It's just his awareness. But I think it's more of him just relaxing, settle down, take a deep breath. D-Hop's here. Other weapons are here. Juju will come back. Just play ball. You're back to where you were when we had Hollywood and Rashee in many ways, because it's not all on you. So just let us all kind of navigate this together. But be the guy that hits the 54-yarder against Cincinnati, the 35-yarder against Baltimore, runs the end around, San Francisco. So, or one of those games. But anyway, the point is just relax, dude, and play.
Let's talk about the cornerback room here. The Chiefs didn't make a move at the deadline. They tried, it seems like, to go get Lattimore, but it just ended up working. I think the cost was just too high.
Way too much.
Yeah, the Chiefs they're not spending that much for a rental player at the deadline. How do you feel about this room heading into the second half of the season? Because they've also faced some attrition with the roster.
Big time. No, it's big time. And concerned because there's just not – you get one more injury there, you got – there's some real issues. Now – Spags can, and we saw it last night, he can kind of maneuver a little bit with Shamari Connor or his multiplicity of use of the safeties and go extra what looks like safeties, but still have some corner abilities. Jaden Hicks got a lot of snaps last night in critical times. Getting Najee Johnson back will help, but yeah, there's a thin line there at corner. But the Lattimore deal I thought it'd be too expensive. Like it was just, they're just way too much. That's your gold headphones. You're going to pay full price for it. Or some dude wants to sell it to you online for double what he paid for it. But it's just a matter of, it'll challenge Spags, it'll challenge Dave Merritt and D'Alessio on the back end to try to figure out how they're going to just hang in there with these corners and safety combos, because there's some good dudes coming up on the horizon.
What do you have up on Chiefs Kingdom today?
We're going to hear from Coach Reed and then Neil Smith. It's a short week. This is Monday and Tuesday all in once. That's why it's a little bit late, because these short weeks are rough. I'm concerned about this game on a short week. Denver's very physical, super aggressive. Don't be fooled by the 41-10 game. I have no idea why they went for it 5 times on 4th down. 2 were in desperation late, 3 were not. And they allowed Lamar Jackson to have a shorter field than he should have had. They didn't play to their defense, I didn't think, on Sunday. But if they do, that you're in for a scrap. And, again, it's all about staying ahead of the chains. So there's a little of that discussion with Andy Reid tonight. How do you handle the short week? And then we'll have Neil Smith, because current players they're cramming for the test and trying to get healthy. This is a tough game last night, physical game, and you've got an overtime game. You play 5 more game minutes in hard stress minutes, and then you play a noon game on Sunday. Now, it helps to be home, but still, I've been in this league long enough to know the difficulty of short weeks, especially when you get to the halfway point of the year and beyond.
That is Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. His appearances are presented by Silverstein Eye Center. Achieve your best vision and experience outstanding patient care at Silverstein Eye Center. Also by GEHA. They are a proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Mitch, happy to have you join us today.
Thanks, man. Neil Smith, double agent.
Chiefs and Broncos.
That's right. He's got rings from the Broncos.
I try not to bring the Broncos part up. I try not to bring it up.
I'll bring it up tonight for a little bit, and we'll see how that goes.
Coming up on the other side, let's talk about the Chiefs' pursuit of Marshawn Lattimore. That's coming up. Keep right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick 6, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are, or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because
it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle season.
It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited.
See kslottery.com for details.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. And who isn't excited to watch the Lakers this year with LeBron and Bronny playing together? If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED. And it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Now we're looking at an exit closed southbound 69 highway at 151st Street. Gonna have to use an alternate route, go past it, go around, and now we've got traffic backed up to 435 on the southbound lanes of 69 highway. Debris in the roadway westbound 435 at the on-ramp from Red Bridge Road, stopping traffic. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's talk about, I would say, I don't know if area of needs is the right term, but certainly 2 position groups that I feel need a little bit of conversation. I thought yesterday was the worst game that we've seen from Xavier Worthy. I like what we just heard from Mitch. I don't think he's that far off. I just don't think he has great field awareness right now. He should have scored a touchdown yesterday. He is wide open. Now, the ball is not perfectly thrown, but I also don't think that he knew where he was on the field. There's no reason for you to step out of bounds in that scenario. No reason to do that. And I think that just comes with more times, more reps, more opportunities. So I looked this up today because I was curious. In the past 4 games, Xavier Worthy has 10 catches on 24 targets, 81 yards over the last 4 games. He also has 4 carries for -2 yards. I would say right now one of the biggest challenges for their offense is they have to figure out a way to make the game a little bit easier for Xavier Worthy. And you remember a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember who they were playing. Correct me if you remember, Rob. Remember when they basically just gave McCole Hardman 4 screens and he ended up having like 35 yards in that game?
Niners game.
Yeah, I think they kind of got to get back to that with Xavier Worthy. I certainly get what they're trying to do and make him that down the field, big play kind of receiver. But he's far too dynamic as a player and explosive as a player that you kind of got to figure some things out. So you got to try to get him the carries. You got to try to give him the end around. You got to try to give him the screen plays. You just got to find a way to kind of force feed him and kind of get his confidence back up going a little bit. That's what I see. I'm not here ready to make any declarative statements on Xavier Worthy. It's just too early on in his career. But that is something that I do think is noteworthy. They've been really trying to get him the ball of late. I mean, over the last 4 games, he's averaged 24 targets. They try to get him the ball about 6 times a game. He's got 80 yards over the last 4 games. So it just, you haven't gotten a lot of production for really what you were trying to do with him in the offense. And yesterday, they tried to give him the big down the field play, and he just didn't have the right awareness. Now, let's talk about the cornerback room for just a little bit. I do think that Joshua Williams is struggling just a little bit, but any conversation after today, there are no more help is not on the way. If that person is not already signed to the Kansas City Chiefs, this is it. Maybe there will be a Mike Pennell type deal that happens in a couple of weeks. Maybe there's a Terrell Suggs-like move that happened, 4 or 5 years ago now, where you can get somebody on waivers. But it's also important to note the Chiefs are going to be dead last on waivers. So if there is any capable corner that hits the market between now and then, the Chiefs are probably not winning that waiver claim. They are not going to be the only contending team that puts in a waiver claim for that player, and that's the only way that you would get that player given where they select. So this is it when it comes to their cornerback room. The Chiefs are telling you that they think they're going to be fine, that they're going to coach some guys up and they're going to be where they need to be coming up in a couple of months. I don't think there's too many Achilles heels for this team. Injuries continues to be one, but you're expected to get Isaiah Pacheco back coming up by the end of the month. We expect Hollywood Brown to play. I expect Xavier Worthy to improve as the season progresses, as most young players do. But when it comes to corners, Jalen Watson is not coming back. Help is not on the way. You tried to go get Marshawn Lattimore. He was a little bit more expensive than you were willing to pay. Certainly understandable when you look at what the cost of acquiring the player was at. This is a price that not even I would have paid. And Rob, you and I have different tolerances when it comes to trading draft picks. I would not have traded for Marshawn Lattimore if that was going to be the cost. Not for a guy who feels like a rental. The Chiefs are also not bringing him back at what his contract looks like for 25 and 26. So this is a team that has kind of prided itself on the ability to find those diamond in the rough, the guy that can kind of elevate as the season progresses. They're going to have to get to coaching here. You're going to have to get the most out of Joshua Williams down the stretch. You're going to have to develop Chamari Connor and some of your other secondary options. This is where Spags really has to scheme some guys up, and they're going to really have to focus on player development on the back half of that secondary between now and the playoffs.
I agree. Player development's the path. We talked about when they added O'Shea. If it's an indictment on FAU or if we think it's possibly it means Mike Dana's health is worse than previously imagined, how much of their inactivity today at corner, because it wasn't just Marshawn Lynch that got traded. Tre'Davious White got traded for a ham sandwich. Now, maybe they hate Tre'Davious White. I don't know. But how much their inactivity is a sign that they trust that Najee Johnson will be healthy soon, and Najee Johnson changes a little bit at the back end of that defense. Because no disrespect to Wallace, the guy who had the pick against the Niners.
I'm also, sorry to cut you off, I'm not really sure if Trey White is any better than what they already have at this point.
I think he's actually worse, but that's not here nor there.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're saying that, then to me, going to get Trey White is the move for the sake of making a move. I understand why the Ravens did that. They're dead last in passing defense. So yeah, the Ravens have to go out and acquire a player just to try to throw something into the mix. That's not the case with the Chiefs defense. So if you are Kansas City and you feel confident, we've got maybe the best young corner in the National Football League in McDuffie. We feel that Najee Johnson is going to come back. And if we can develop one of these other two guys, you don't need 7 good corners heading into the postseason. You need 3. If you have 3 and the safeties that they have, you'll be fine to get through the final 4 games of the season. So it sounds to me that's what they're banking on. Let's get Najee Johnson back healthy whenever that is. Let's develop a third corner. You probably won't develop both of them to where you need them to be by the end of the season, but you only really need one in nickel situations, and we'll continue to use Justin Reed or Brian Cook or Chamari Connor. We'll kind of have them play the Tyrann Mathieu floater role, help us out in pass coverage, help us out in run coverage. You can cover tight ends and do all of those things, and we can kind of scheme up some other things to kind of help support this secondary.
I also wonder if We talk about this a lot with Spag secondary. They seem to always have a hybrid guy. Remember when L'Jarius Sneed first came into the league, we viewed him as kind of that hybrid guy. Chamari Connor is that kind of hybrid guy. I wonder if one of the reasons that they, outside of the Lattimore move, didn't make a move at corner, and I agree with you for the don't even make a move for the sake of making a move, is they believe one of their safety or hybrid type skill sets does apply to corner. Because Chamari Connor is not a corner in traditional sense, but do I think there's a world where Spags can get the most out of him? Maybe he, Hicks, and Justin Reed are all on the field at the same time? Probably. I think what the Chiefs are doing by not making a move at corner is saying, we trust Spags to coach him up, and we trust Spags to scheme it up and develop all at the same time. And basically, since he has shown up in Kansas City, Spags has shown an ability to do that. Tyrann Mathieu is another example of the hybrid type of guy. So I wonder if they feel like the replacement, albeit without CB next to his name on the depth chart, is in-house, and that replacement is Chamari Connor.
Someone on the text line said, what did the Washington Commanders give up for Marshawn Lattimore? They gave up a bunch to go get Lattimore. They gave up a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and they did a pick swap for a fifth, turning it into a sixth-round pick. So Washington spent a premium to go improve their cornerback room. I kind of knew that about Marshawn Lattimore. We discussed it a little bit yesterday. He's a 28-year-old corner who's still playing at a really high level. I think one good thing to know about this trade deadline moving forward is I think we got a pretty good idea of what a wide receiver costs at the deadline. The same way that when a quarterback contract comes up, well, this is what it costs. Look at what Trevor Lawrence got. Look at what Burrow got. Look at what Dak got. This is what the market says that you're worth. The market has set what a wide receiver is worth. So if you want to go get a Darius Slayton or Demarcus Robinson, this is what it costs you at the deadline to go do it. I think also the market has kind of been set for if you want a pass rusher or if you want a corner. Marshawn Lattimore is a good corner who can step in and still play at a Pro Bowl level. It's just going to be really expensive if that's the kind of player that you want to acquire. We can keep this conversation going. The NFL trade deadline is come and gone. Let's do this, Rob. Let's go through all the moves and the compensation. We'll do a rapid fire whip around. That's coming up. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Staples has amazing deals on everything you need for the holidays, from custom holiday cards and photo gifts to laptops and gaming systems, even shipping solutions. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. In-store only, offer ends 11/16. Unwrap huge savings at Staples.
First time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all of fatherhood's first, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardy siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardy siding will last decades, and their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Hi. This weekly football recap is brought to you by MD Anderson Cancer Center.
Marking the halfway point of the season, Week 9 did not disappoint. We saw historic offensive blowouts, last-second victories, and even some overtime wins. Detroit beat their rivals in Green Bay during regulation, while L.A. and Tennessee both earned overtime wins against Seattle and New England.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is doing whatever it takes in the pursuit of making cancer history. Learn more at findyourmdanderson.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Order for Jennifer C. Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve? Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine? Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year? Well, I do now. Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year? Yeah, you just said that. Did you say I just said that? Yeah, I'm cutting you off. Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Now we're looking at an exit closed southbound 69 highway at 151st Street. We're going to have to use an alternate route, go past it, go around, and now we've got traffic backed up to 435 on the southbound lanes of 69 highway. Debris in the roadway westbound 435 at the on-ramp from Red Bridge Road, stopping traffic. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Make sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Cowboys are just they're an interesting team. Let me explain. So the Cowboys traded for a wide receiver today. There's been a lot of wide receiver trades of late, right? So Mike Williams just got traded. He went for a 5th round pick. DeAndre Hopkins got traded. He went for a 5th-round pick. That could be a 4th-round pick. Deontay Johnson got traded. It was a pick swap. The Cowboys traded a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. So there are usually kind of signs, examples of things that happen that explain, hey, this is why the Steelers are the Steelers. The Steelers got Mike Williams on the cheap. They also got a pass rusher today on the cheap. The Chiefs, they got a potential future Hall of Fame wide receiver. Got him on the cheap. The Cowboys overpaid for Jonathan Mingo? That's what they did today? Okay. If you guys want an example of why the Cowboys haven't been good since you were going to Blockbuster Video, they just continue to give us signs and examples. If you want an example of how the Cowboys haven't been good since before the Game Boy was in color, they continue to give us examples every single week. How did you pay more for Jonathan Mingo than the Chiefs paid for DeAndre Hopkins? Does that make sense to you guys? How did you pay more for Jonathan Mingo than the Ravens did for Deontay Johnson? That makes sense to you? Well, they're the Cowboys. Nothing they do makes sense. We'll get back to Monday Night Football coming up in a bit, but if you were just getting off work, I want to wrap up NFL trade deadline. Now, I give the NFL a lot of credit. The NFL pushed it back basically in hopes of what we got today. Actions were coming in fast and furious. This team made a move. This team made a move. There were a lot of transactions, a lot of trades today. NFL trade deadline day was a pretty enjoyable experience. All right, Rob, let's wrap it up.
Let's start with the first move of the day. Carrington, the Detroit Lions acquired defensive end Zadarius Smith from the Cleveland Browns earlier today. Smith in a 2026 7th went to Detroit in exchange for a 2025 5th and a 2026 6th. What are your thoughts on the Lions, acquiring Browns defensive end Zadarius Smith?
I think it makes a lot of sense for them. If you think about sort of what's happened to their roster with them losing Aiden Hutchinson, they were going to need a little bit of pass rush, so they go out and they acquire it. So it makes sense to me. I think we all knew that the Lions were going to need a little bit of something. They go out and get it. Now, this is certainly not the same as you having Aiden Hutchinson, but Aiden Hutchinson was on the short list to win Defensive Player of the Year. But he does have 5 sacks this season. You bring him into the mix, and you have him now fill in that role and go get after the quarterback. So I think this is what the Lions had to do. You couldn't let that go unaddressed, and they addressed it with going out and getting Zadarius Smith.
We'll skip past Khalil Herbert and Jonathan Mingo because the average fan has no idea who those players are. Skipping now to the marquee move of the day. The Commanders acquired Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. They gave up a 3rd round and 4th round and a 6th round pick to get Lattimore and a 5th. Carrington, we've talked about it all day, but do you like the Commanders' addition of Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah, I actually like this Commander move the most because it's them. They overpaid for Marshawn Lattimore, but they have a lot of draft picks. You can almost argue that they traded Jahan Dotson, who was a failed 1st-round pick, that they traded him for Marshawn Lattimore. And I think more than anything, this was sort of symbolic to your fan base. It's been tough to be a football team fan, a Commanders fan, and that other word that we can't say. It's been a tough time to be a fan for that team. But you got a new coach, you got a new quarterback, you got a chance to win your division, and your team needs a little bit of something. So I understand wanting to go out there and make a move. You also have a new owner that wants to kind of plant his own flag and show you that I'm going to be aggressive. So I don't think they got great value. They spent more for Marshawn Lattimore than any player they got traded at the deadline. But they had a little bit of extra picks to play with, and you're also not spending a whole lot of money between now and the end of the season. The question now is going to be, do you get Marshawn Lattimore to restructure his deal for next season to give yourself some cap flexibility? Let's see if he does that for the Commanders, or let's see if he gets released. I will reserve a little bit of judgment on this move. Let's see if the Commanders win their division. Let's see if they actually make a little bit of noise in the postseason. Let's also see if they do anything long-term with Lattimore. But before we move forward,
those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? Commanders. Commanders. Commanders.
that was it.
Carrington, the Steelers were buyers today, making two moves. They
made some good moves.
They acquired wide receiver Mike Williams from the Jets for a 5th-round pick, and they also acquired Preston Smith, the edge rusher from the Packers, for a 7th. Do you like both the Steelers' move operating as if they are in contention?
Yeah, we were just talking about this. This is why some organizations just stay winning and why some organizations stay losing. I like both of these moves for the Steelers. The Steelers have clearly been looking for a wide receiver for the last 6 months. They have tried to get almost every wide receiver's name who has popped up. I still think Mike Williams has a little bit left in the tank. You're asking him to come in and be a 3rd, 4th receiver, and you didn't spend a whole lot of money to acquire him and not great draft pick compensation. You also bring in Preston Smith, and you bring him into a team that doesn't really have any problems getting after the quarterback. But here, we'll throw another veteran into the mix where we can give TJ Watt a little bit of rest. Maybe we can conserve him a little bit in these spots because we feel like this other guy can get after the quarterback. These are two moves that make a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you got great value on both sides. There aren't many moves, I would say, at the deadline that I dislike. The Cowboys made a move that I don't like, and I think the Commanders spent a little bit too much for Lattimore, but I understand why they did. But all in all, I think this is a really smart trade deadline around the league.
I mean, I echo what you say. I credit the NFL because, Carrington, growing up for years and years and years, the NFL trade deadline stunk. It would be like, hey, player you've never heard of gets moved for a 7th. I mean, who cares? They are now having it mirror the NBA or baseball where players whose name you know are being moved, and it's makes the stretch run more interesting. It makes the deadline more interesting. I do wish it was still a little bit later so we had a better idea of who was in and who was out, but kudos to the NFL for making this day actually interesting.
So coming up at the top of the hour, this is what we'll talk about. We'll talk about DeAndre Hopkins, who was phenomenal yesterday. We'll talk about the Bucs' decision to kick the extra point at the end of regulation, which was the absolute wrong decision. And we'll also continue to talk about the trade deadline. The Chiefs were in on Lattimore to the end, but they narrowly missed, and he goes to the Commanders. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a 2-car crash northbound 71 just past Gregory. That's stopping traffic. And debris still in the roadway westbound 435 just outside of the triangle. It's the on-ramp from Red Bridge Road. Definitely stopping traffic there too. And an exit closed southbound 69 highway. That's to 151st Street. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, let's get ready for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I'm also going to take an anytime touchdown with Derrick Henry because he scores a touchdown in every single game. I'm also going to take Joe Burrow to throw at least 2 touchdown passes. He's been on a roll of late. You can use this same game parlay, maybe make your own, or use one of the pre-built ones right there on the app. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after free. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Pizza Tashio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Tashio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzatashio.com. Or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City. One slice at a time.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
What makes a good real estate agent? They just know what makes your home sell. And homeowners all over Kansas City trust the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, to sell their home. And I trust Dawn as well. If I needed to sell my home, Dawn Sharp is the only call I would make. Dawn and her team know how to price your home correctly and how to market it to as many potential buyers as possible. She has over 200 5-star reviews on Google and Zillow, and you can see them when you Google Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing.
Hey, Chiefs fans, this season it's time to share your gratitude. We want to hear from you about the Chiefs player you're thankful for. Call in and tell us your favorite Chiefs player and why they mean so much to you. Not only will you get to shout out your favorite player, but you'll also qualify to win $500 in Hy-Vee gift cards. That's right, $500 to spend on your favorite groceries, game day snacks, and more. Only at Hy-Vee. So, who's the Chief you're thankful for? Dial in now and share your story.
Tonight, expect a low of 42 with partly cloudy skies.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Listen to the Chiefs and Broncos game on Sunday with pregame starting at 9, kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. I highly encourage you to go out and vote if you haven't already. Maybe you were like Rob and I, and we have already done the early voting. Maybe you are heading there right now and you're going to wait in the line, and we appreciate you nonetheless. But I would just encourage everybody to go out there and use your right to be able to go out and vote today. There's a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the trade deadline. We'll talk about Monday Night Football. We'll talk about DeAndre Hopkins. There's a lot of things that are going on. Let me just get this part of the hits out of the way, and then we will just solely focus on the Chiefs the rest of the way. I do not understand the decision from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the end of the fourth quarter. Let's go through the scenario, shall we? Because I think the scenario is really, really important. Tampa Bay is coming into this game incredibly wounded. They don't have Mike Evans. They don't have Chris Godwin. They're very, very depleted at wide receiver. You also know, because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, that Tampa Bay cannot run the football, at least not against Kansas City. Yesterday, their leading rusher, Bucky Irvin, had 7 carries for 24 yards. Rachaad White had 3 carries for 19 yards. They did not run the football effectively. Somehow, in the face of all of that, in the face of maybe the best home field advantage in all of the National Football League, in the sleet and rain and hail and whatever it was doing out there, Tampa Bay put together a 10-play, 71-yard drive in a minute 49 against arguably the best defense in the National Football League. I mean, it was like a hot knife through butter. Baker Mayfield, 14 yards. Baker Mayfield, 18 yards. Baker Mayfield runs for 9 yards. Baker was carrying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They then are faced with the decision. They score a touchdown pass with 27 seconds left on the clock. I was thinking, I imagine like many of you, you know what? Tampa Bay is going to try to win the football game right here. Maybe they don't get it, but they're going to try to win the game. They then kick the extra point. You guys know how this story goes. Their offense never takes the field again. They lose the game. And now people are, oh, man, the overtime rules aren't fair. Nah, bruh. Tampa Bay had an opportunity to win this game, and they chose to kick an extra point, and then their defense couldn't get off the field. I'm sorry, you lose. Good day, sir. There were 2 doors. Let's say that I guess there's 3 doors. They could miss it, right? It's possible. I don't want to make it seem like it's 100% you get a 2-point conversion, especially not on the road against the Chiefs defense. Maybe they go for it and they miss. And you know what? The Buccaneers lose 24-23. We pat the Bucs on the back for playing hard, and man, you gave the Chiefs a real scare. That's one possibility, right? That's door number 1. Door number 2, Tampa Bay gets the 2-point conversion. And Kansas City, maybe they don't get the field goal. That's a possibility, right? It's a possibility Tampa Bay gets off the field. They got off the field at the end of the fourth quarter. Maybe Kansas City misses the field goal. Also a possibility. Maybe Kansas City goes down the field and makes it. Mahomes does Mahomes things. Harrison Butker does a Harrison Butker thing. And we look at it, and the Chiefs win 27-25. Man, that stinks, Tampa. I'm sorry. It was better than what their outcome was. In order for Tampa Bay to win, they needed 4 things to go right. They needed to kick the extra point. They needed to stop Kansas City at the end of the fourth quarter. They needed to win the coin toss, and then they needed to score a touchdown after getting the coin toss. They were never going to do all those things against Kansas City. Again, I'm not here telling you that I know what would have happened if they had gone for a 2-point conversion. Maybe Tampa misses. Maybe Tampa makes it and the Chiefs go down the field and kick a field goal in regulation, and none of this matters anyway. You at least got to give yourself a chance. You're a 4-4 football team. This is the same Buccaneers that earlier in the day were jumping on the Chiefs logo, celebrating like they've done something. If you were going to come into Arrowhead with this big dog energy, you can't be a small puppy when it's time to go win the game. You can't go whimper off into the corner. Kicking the extra point there at the end is exactly what the Chiefs wanted you to do and exactly what their fan base wanted you to do. Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever do what Andy wants you to do, what Patrick wants you to do, what that one guy that looks like the guy from Friends in the Chiefs jacket? Why would you ever do that? Don't ever do what they want you to do if you're trying to come in and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It was silly. Tampa Bay deserved to lose yesterday. The Chiefs deserved to win. The Chiefs outplayed them. But, man, Tampa Bay aided in their own demise. We have no clue what would have happened. But Tampa picked the absolute hardest path to try to beat the best team in the league. And they got what they deserved. They lost. So don't let anybody on your timeline tell you that the overtime rules are broken or, man, the refs didn't call that false start at the end for Jawan Taylor. Man, Tampa Bay had a chance to take the lead against the Kansas City Chiefs with less than 30 seconds to go and declined. That's your fault. You lost. Point blank period, cut and dry, you lost. So, hey, congratulations to Tampa. I give Baker Mayfield all the credit in the world. It was a great drive, an excellent drive. Tampa Bay was tough. They're competitive. That is a good football team that has just been bitten by the injury bug. But you got to give yourself a chance. You're the 9 seed in the NCAA tournament going up against the 1 seed. You're the mid-major on the road at KU. You don't play for overtime. You try to shoot the 3 and you try to win and you storm the court at Allen Fieldhouse. That's how you have to think in this mentality. Tampa Bay has to be kicking themselves by, you knew when they made the decision to kick that extra point, Baker Mayfield would not attempt another pass the rest of the day. You knew it. I've seen it too many times before. You know they got 15 on the other side. I don't care what the math says. I don't care what analytics says. I don't care how many timeouts you have or the other team has. If you got a chance you think to drive a stake through the heart of 15, you at least got to take it because, trust me, if he got that opportunity to you, that's what he's doing. And we've seen him do it time and time again, and that is exactly what he did last night to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Rob, I want to give you a chance to chime in on this, the extra point. Text line 913-586-7965. Did you guys think that they were going to go for the 2-point conversion? I was dumbfounded they didn't go for it at the end of the fourth quarter. It made no sense to me why would you try to extend the game against Kansas City knowing you're shorthanded?
I agree with everything you're saying. And I want to add on that I think somehow, some way, what you just laid out wasn't even the worst coaching decision that Todd Bowles made in that moment. Let's flash back a single play of the scenario you laid out. The Bucks get a big gain to Trey Palmer, and they are down at the 1-yard line. There's 33 seconds on the clock. Todd Bowles uses his final timeout. Why? What are you doing? By stopping the clock, all you are doing is potentially giving Mahomes more time to beat you. Take your time, go down there, get set up, run a play. If it fails, you now have 3 downs and 1 timeout to get a touchdown. If it's successful, a few more precious seconds tick off the clock, and now the Bucks are in an even better position to win the game. So the timeout to me is more mind-numbingly dumb than the decision to not go for 2. And when you combine the two things, you call the timeout to give more time to Mahomes, potentially to beat you in regulation. You at that point, then to me, have to go for the 2. You can't save them the time and then be conservative.
Yeah, I'm not. You're more worried about the timeouts than I am. I get why everybody's all caught up on the timeouts. The timeouts to me I'm big on coaching my team. And what I don't want in that scenario is for us to run a play and us to not be on the same page. So if you're telling me that the offense calls the play, if they think something's going to happen, because the worst thing to me that can happen in that scenario is now it's 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. So if you think a timeout helps you solve that, I'm not necessarily as concerned with the timeout part. Someone texted in, CDOT, you're just saying the items that support your side. The success rate this season for 2-point conversions is 31% compared to a 50-50 coin flip. Stop making it sound more than what it is. Okay, are we only using the 2-point conversion rate for this season, which is 31%, and not going by last season, it was 55%. Just last season, it was 55%. And it's not just winning the 50-50 coin flip. You then have to go score a touchdown in order to win the game. Like, that's why I hate this, they won on a coin flip. No, they didn't win on a coin flip. They flipped the coin, and then they keep playing. They flipped the coin, the Chiefs won, and it was now up for your defense to stop Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry, your defense wasn't stopping Patrick Mahomes. Your defense couldn't get out the field all night. Patrick Mahomes was He was 99% from third downs. What made you think you were getting a stop at the end of the game? I'm sorry. So, yeah, we can play the math. Sure, this season is 31%. Oh, okay, fine. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers tried to hit a 4-leg parlay at the end of the game. That's what they tried to do. You have to make the extra point. You have to stop Kansas City at the end of regulation. You have to win the coin flip. You have to go down the field and score a touchdown in your first possession. They're not a good enough team to do all four of those things. Those of you that gamble, you miss 4-leg parlays by one leg all the time. Guess which leg they missed? Stop Patrick Mahomes. That's the leg that cost them the game. Stupid. It's nonsense. Go for it. Maybe you lose in regulation. You lost in overtime. There's not an alternate universe in which I think Tampa Bay wins the coin toss and Baker Mayfield is taking them down the field in back-to-back possessions on the road and scoring a touchdown against that defense. It happened one time. Lightning don't strike twice in the same spot. All right, Rob, let's get to the hits.
It's 5 o'clock, and your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home. Might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
Really quick, and I'm going to read this text really quickly. C-Dot, if they had chose to go for 2 and missed it, would they have been criticized for not taking the extra point? I would not have criticized them for taking the extra point. There were 9.5-point underdogs on the road. They don't have any wide receivers on their team. This is not a fair fight. Sure, if Buffalo was in this situation in 2 weeks against Kansas City, you kick the extra point and you play for overtime. If Baltimore was going to go for 2 against Kansas City, right? We know that. If Likely wore a size 11 as opposed to a size 14, Baltimore was prepared to go for 2-point conversion. You got the Chiefs on the ropes. There have not been many times over the course of the last 18 months where you can say that a team had Kansas City on the ropes. Baltimore had the Chiefs on, or Tampa Bay had the Chiefs on the ropes yesterday. They had just had a 10-play, 71-yard drive in the final 2 minutes of the game. You got to strike while the iron's hot. You had a chance to sweep the leg. You had a chance to go for a fatality, and you chose for a friendship? It doesn't make any sense.
By the way, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Carrington pivoting away from Todd Bowles' just really bad clock management, time management, game management. Let's talk about the actual game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Their new shiny toy, DeAndre Hopkins, he shined last night, and you explained, hey, that is exactly what the Chiefs needed at wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Fade the music down a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about this. The Chiefs have coveted DeAndre Hopkins for a really, really long time. Some of you, I don't even want to make a basketball comparison, Rob. Let me go back to my old try and true. Let me make a relationship analogy here. There's some young lady that you saw her pictures on Instagram and you were like, man, you know what? I want to go out on a date with her. She seems like a really nice individual. She seems really sweet, has a great heart. You know what? I want to ask her out on a date. You ask her out on a date. She's like, nah, I got a boyfriend. You're like, oh, okay. I respect it. But in the back of your mind, you're just waiting for the moment that she's single. And the moment you find out that she's single, you're going to ask her again. Of course, you got to take your opportunity. It's right there. And then you eventually do it. You eventually ask her out on a date. You know what? That woman is your wife to this day. That's what we saw the Chiefs do in real time. They have been trying to go out on a date with DeAndre Hopkins for at least 3 years. Back when he was in Arizona, they wanted to trade for him. When he was a free agent and he was looking around, they wanted to sign him. They have always had it in the back of their mind, man, you know what? If I ever get a chance to get D-Hop, we're going to do it. They got their chance to go get DeAndre Hopkins, and you can see exactly why. He was incredible yesterday. They've never had a receiver to play with Patrick Mahomes like D-Hop is. They do not have a single player outside of Travis Kelce in the Patrick Mahomes era that could have made that catch in the middle of the field. And I say that, too, about Tyreek Hill because that's just not the kind of receiver that he is. That's an elite, high-level catch. That slant route that they ran, that he scored his first touchdown on, and he did his little dance, they have never had a wide receiver that could run that route the way that they did. The Chiefs have fixed their red zone issues by shockingly trying a strategy of getting two players who are really good in the red zone. They fixed their red zone issues by trusting the interior of their offensive line and just running the ball straight with Kareem Hunt. And shockingly, running the ball behind Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith and not being cutesy about it has really worked for this team in short yardage scenarios. And now they got a real legitimate red zone weapon. That's who they have. They have a legitimate, you can throw me a fade route, a 50-50 ball. It's not 50-50. I'm here. It's really an 80-20 ball. Or I'm going to run a slant route, and it doesn't care if that safety's coming over the top. I'm going to make the tough catch, and it's going to be a touchdown. They've never had somebody like that. Not while Mahomes has been here. And we talk a lot about Mahomes and trust. I don't know how you don't trust that individual. They talked about ramping him up and getting him acclimated with the offense. I thought he was great yesterday. He did a little bit of everything you needed. They needed a tough catch on third down. He made it. You needed him to block on the outside from McCole Hardman. He did that yesterday. Everything they want from a wide receiver, he did yesterday. He was super Juju Smith-Schuster. And I love Juju. That's who he was yesterday. Juju does not make that catch in the middle of the field. Juju can run that slant route. He doesn't make that catch over the middle of the field. But that same toughness that they have wanted for the last 4 or 5 years, they finally got. And, man, it was a lot of fun yesterday. And they really need him. The Chiefs do not have great wide receivers. I'm not telling you something you don't know. Xavier Worthy was non-existent yesterday. I'm not sure if he knew where the sideline was yesterday. Justin Watson was fine. And that's kind of it at wide receiver. They don't have a whole lot of weapons. They don't win that game yesterday without the trade for DeAndre Hopkins. They just don't win it yesterday. I just don't know if they have enough. But it was the same formula yesterday that got them to the Super Bowl. Isaiah Pacheco was subbed out for Kareem Hunt, and he was incredible in the playoffs. Travis Kelce was Travis Kelce. He had 100 yards receiving yesterday, and DeAndre Hopkins was Rice from the postseason. They leaned on 3 individuals, and that's how they won. They had 381 total yards as a team. They had 321 total yards from those 3 individuals. So the other guys gave you a little bit. You got a little bit from Samaje Perine. You got a little bit from Justin Watson, but no, yesterday was our stars are going to be our stars. This is not a McCole Hardman day. This was not a Noah Gray day. You needed to grind this out in the weather, and you had to go with the guys that you trust. And right now, there are 3 or 4 trustworthy guys in their offense, and they rode those 3 individuals, and that's how they won yesterday's game.
Number 3.
Speaking of wide receiver, Carrington, you pulled some numbers earlier today from Xavier Worthy. In the last 4 games, he has 10 catches on 24 targets for 81 yards with 4 carries for -2 yards. He yet again was not great last night. Do you believe that he is potentially hitting a rookie wall?
Yeah, I don't know if rookie wall's a fair thing to say about him. I just think that it's just going to be a little touch and go with Xavier Worthy. Let me give you guys the stats that we looked up earlier today with Xavier Worthy. In the last 4 games, Xavier Worthy has 10 catches on 24 targets for 81 yards. They have also given him 4 carries, and he has -2 yards. So he has 79 total yards in their last 4 games. So he has not been a super productive player. I think the biggest improvement that Xavier Worthy can have is just awareness. I don't think he has great awareness right now, and I don't think he is always in the spot where he needs to be, and I think that causes some communication issues with the quarterback. The route that they threw in the first quarter, maybe it was the second quarter, but I know it was in the first half, where Xavier Worthy is wide open down the left side of the field. He just steps out of bounds. That play shouldn't be nearly as close and shouldn't even be reviewable where it can be overturned if you just have better awareness of where you are and where the sideline is. I think a lot of that just comes from youth and you being a young player, and the hash marks are different in the NFL than they are in college, and it is a different game. So this is not me telling you that I think Xavier Worthy is a bust, and I'm still willing to give him a lot more time to develop as a player. But this team is going to need a little bit more production from him than they've gotten. I want them to get to a point where they just manufacture his touches. He didn't touch the ball a whole lot in that first game. They just found some things that he can do. maybe you try to get him a little bit involved in the run game. Maybe you try to give him a little shovel pass and try to get him in some open space and try to let him make a move and make a decision. I think they've tried to make him down the field deep threat guy, and I'm not sure if that's what he is today, but can grow into that. But use his speed, use him as a weapon, use him in the screen game, line him up in the backfield and give him a toss and allow him to make one cut and find he's too dynamic of a player for him to have less than 80 yards over the last 4 games. So just find some things that he can do, manufacture some touches for him, try to get him the ball on a jet sweep, try to do some of those things, and try to see if you can find a defined role for him on the team. I think they have a vision of what his role can be in this offense. I don't think he's there yet.
Do you think he gets there this year?
Maybe.
I know it's a hard question to answer. The jury's still out, but it does seem like he is slowing. Early in the season, it was explosiveness, it was big plays. Oh man, this is great. It was all excitement. It seems to be slowing down, which is perfect for the Chiefs. That coincides with the time they've added a Hall of Fame type wide receiver to the team. But I do worry that, in the past with McCole Hardman, when his usage started going down his rookie year, his stats went down. Like, I wonder if Xavier Worthy might get used less, and we look at the end of the year, his stats were only that. Like, they need something out of him to be a Super Bowl champion, so I worry that they're getting very little from him right now.
I think, honestly, what happened is I think he was so good in his rookie game, in his first game, that we're kind of holding him to that standard. He touched the ball 3 times and scored 2 times. He had 47 yards receiving and also had 21 yards rushing. He doesn't have 21 yards rushing since then. Think about it. He had 21 yards rushing in his first game and has 37 on the season. So he has 16 rushing yards in the other 7 games that they've had. I think that first game, because it was exactly, we talked about Xavier Worthy for 6 months, right? 6 months. And in game 1, he was everything we thought he was going to be. He was fast, he was speedy, he was dynamic, he was everything they didn't have. Rob, he only has 1 game since then in which he's had more than 40 yards receiving. Again, he has 16 rushing yards since the first game. I think what happened is he had a great first impression that if he had had that game in week 7, we'd be talking about him turning the corner and just playing better. But he did that off the rip, and he's never played as well as he did in that first game. So I'm not here making any decisions about Xavier Worthy. We're talking about a 5'11", 160-pound, 21-year-old NFL player. So I'm willing to be patient. I'm willing to give him some time. He's also being thrusted into a role that I don't think he was ready for. We were expecting him to kind of be the backup singer. You're not asking him to be a lead singer because of the injuries that you have. So I want to see him once Hollywood comes back. I want to see him once he gets 10, 12 games under his belt and just see how he grows and develops. We are still 2 months into this NFL experience with Xavier Worthy. I think it's unfair to write him off in any capacity or throw label or bust or any of those things. I'm willing to give Xavier Worthy a lot more time than we've seen so far in this season. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Truck drivers, don't wait until 2025 to find a more reliable career. At Schneider, you'll enjoy reliable freight, a consistent schedule, the home time you want, and top quality driver support. No matter what kind of driving job or home time you're looking for, we have an opportunity for you. Plus, by driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy throughout the holiday season and into the new year. Don't wait. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got the exit closed, causing some slowdown southbound 69 highway if you're sitting in traffic. The exit to 151st Street is closed. Either exit prior to or go past it. Got a stalled car, K10 eastbound at the on-ramp from Renner Road. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan, traffic. Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Monday, or Tuesday, excuse me. No, apologies. Chiefs game got me all off balance here. Normally it's a red Monday. Today it's a red Tuesday. Rob, do you think 913-586-7965. I'm kind of going back and I'm reading the text line about the 2-point conversion. Do you think that this mindset is just our generation is just more inclined to going for it? And I was talking to Sean Barber during the commercial break, and he's also on the side of just kicking the extra point. And maybe this is just our generation because we play video games. We think it's easier going for it on 4th down than what it is. But I think the biggest reason why I feel that Tampa Bay should have gone for it in that scenario is I'm not really sure what the negatives are. Like, you can tell me what you think the pros are, right? But the cons in that situation, you're a massive underdog and you're pretty beat up, right? If you got your full complement of weapons, it's maybe a little bit different. Maybe it's not even a game in that scenario. But the fact that Tampa Bay was even in a position, think about it, that they were in a position to take a lead on the road against Kansas City with less than 30 seconds in the game. They played really, really well. Think about everything that happened yesterday, and Tampa Bay still had a chance to take a lead with less than 30 seconds. Kareem Hunt was very good late in that game. D-Hop, up to that point, had already caught a couple of touchdowns. Travis Kelce had almost 100 yards receiving at this point. The Chiefs' defense played pretty well for the most part. The Chiefs played almost as well as they've played so far this season, and they were still kind of up against the ropes. There just haven't really been too many chances, I would say, where you felt like the Chiefs' defense was vulnerable. They haven't really been vulnerable in a long time. And if you go on a 70-yard drive with less than 2 minutes to go, their defense is a little bit vulnerable, and you really got a chance to strike. So I don't really think this is a hindsight is 2020 move. I also don't think this is one of those we play Madden, so just go for it on 4th down. I'm always going to be on the side of, man, you got a 2-yard play to potentially win the game. It's a 2-yard play. You got to take that opportunity. You got to deal with what you can control. You cannot control the result of the coin flip. You can control your defense. You can control whether or not they go down the field and score, but you cannot control how the coin flips. And Baker Mayfield's reaction told me everything I needed to know. He knew what I knew. We lost. Patrick is one of those people that if you tell Patrick the rules to the game, he is going to figure out a way. Do you guys have somebody in your life that can just learn things really quick? Like, you teach them a board game, and in 5 minutes, how are you so good at this? That's who Patrick Mahomes is. It does not matter what happened before. If you tell him, hey, this is the objective for you to win the game. If you score 1 touchdown in this scenario, you guys win. There was nothing Tampa Bay was going to do to keep him out of that end zone. There's nothing any team, Pittsburgh, any team that you think has a good defense, Chiefs would have scored in that scenario. You want to know how I know? The last time they were in that situation, and he did it in the Super Bowl on a bum ankle. There was nothing Tampa Bay was doing with that defense that was keeping him out of the end zone. Nothing they were doing. You got to go for it there.
100%. And I asked myself this, and I actually agree with Mitch Holtis, who was on the show earlier today. You can catch it on the podcast page. I actually think Todd Bowles is a good football coach. I have a lot of respect for Todd Bowles. I thought the Todd Bowles Baker Mayfield combination in Tampa would end in everyone getting fired, but he has done a good job down there. They're a playoff team last year. They've had some hard times this year with injuries, but they still are a good team. So this is not an indictment on Todd Bowles, but Carrington, if I were to name coaches, the best of the best in the NFL, and I said they're in that same scenario, I bet you almost every other coach goes for it. And that, to me, speaks volumes. Like, Dan Campbell's...
No, really quick, though. I don't know if Kansas City goes for it in that scenario, but I also don't think Kansas City should, just given their defense. Kansas City trusts their defense, and we've seen over the course of the last year and a half, you can trust us to get off of the field. Let's say that Tampa Bay wins the coin toss. I don't think they score a touchdown on that drive. Maybe they go down there and get points. We have not seen in recent memory where a team went back-to-back against Kansas City's defense and scored a touchdown in that scenario. It's been a long time since I've seen that happen. They haven't given up 28 points in 53 consecutive games. So we think that Tampa Bay was going to be the team to do it? I don't think so.
I think Kansas City is the outlier, though. Like naming other coaches. I'll exclude Dan Campbell.
That's fair.
Because Dan Campbell.
No, Dan Campbell would have went for it.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's cheating.
For sure.
John Harbaugh, I literally saw gearing up to do that exact thing in that exact end zone at Arrowhead. So John Harbaugh definitely doing it. I think Jim Harbaugh does that. That's a playoff coach right now. Like, who's leading? I think DeMeco Ryans probably does that. Sean McDermott, I don't think very highly of. I think Sean McDermott is going for it in that moment. I think Kyle Shanahan is going for it in that moment. I think the coaches that we view highly are all going it for in that moment, because if it's basically a 50-50 proposition with a chance to win versus, I don't know the numbers, but I'd say less than 50% chance to win in overtime for a regular season game, you take your 50-50 shot. It was 51% last year, 35% success this year. Add them together, that's 86 divided by 2 seasons. It's a 43% shot to win the game right there. And I think all the top coaches in the league take it. I'm surprised Todd Bowles didn't.
Text line 913-586-7965. But CDOT, if you don't make it, the game's over. They still had a chance. This is just, this what makes sports talk so good. There's not a scenario. I'm seeing people say this. CDOT, if you go for 2 and you miss it, you lose. If you tie the game, the Chiefs, you lose. There's no scenario in which I would want to extend the game against Kansas City. They're the better team. The longer you play, math tells you that the better team is going to win. How many times have we watched a basketball game and you think, man, if this game goes to overtime, you're not beating Kansas. Your best chance to win is right now. That's the thing about sports that I think we're flawed in our thinking. Man, sometimes your best chance to win a baseball game is in the 7th inning. It's not the 9th inning. Sometimes your best chance to win a baseball game is you got runners on first and second with no outs. You need to score in this scenario. And if you don't score in this scenario, then you're losing the game. You know it. You're losing. That's your best chance to take advantage of it.
I also like people saying that you could have lost right there. Well, what's the difference between losing there and losing overtime? You're still losing. You don't get bonus points for being. It's not like I'm looking at the ESPN bottom line right now. It's not like it says Chiefs win / overtime, bonus points for the Bucks because they made the game last longer. They lost in overtime. So yeah, you take your shot, you lose in regulation. That stinks. Or you play it out and you lose in overtime, and it stinks the exact same. I take the better percentage play every time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And someone says if they kick the extra point, then they give Patrick Mahomes 27 seconds. Yeah, maybe. I think Kansas City kicks a field goal in that scenario, but, plenty of things can go wrong. It's wet outside. The kick could get blocked. There's plenty of things that can go wrong in that scenario.
The Chiefs' O-line have been bad most of that last drive. Stuff happens.
I'm telling you in this scenario, if you're telling me that one situation is I'm dependent on one situation, the Chiefs were not going to let Harrison Butker go win the game. Patrick Mahomes was going to go win the game. The other scenario is Harrison Butker could potentially go win the game. I'll take my chances with Harrison Butker. I'm sorry. I'll take my chances with Harrison Butker because Patrick Mahomes, he was not settling for a field goal in overtime once they got the ball. He was going for the kill shot, and that's exactly what happened. Coming up on the other side, keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland's Men's Health. I recently learned something. Did you know that half of the men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction? It also can affect younger men. ED isn't just a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationships. And over at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team offers up solutions with a success rate that's over 90%. You can enjoy intimacy without the anxiety. Take back control. And for just $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, test, and even a test dose. And if it doesn't work, your visit is on the house. It's totally free. Men are getting back to enjoying a vibrant sex life just one day after their appointment with my friends over at Heartland's Men's Health, and that's what I want for you. Go stop by any one of the 3 area locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Don't settle. Pick up the phone and call my friend at Heartland's Men's Health at 844-447-6600 or check out heartlandmenshealth.com. Get your life back today.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards RealFit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got the exit closed, causing some slowdown southbound 69 highway if you're sitting in traffic. The exit to 151st Street is closed. Either exit prior to or go past it. Got a stalled car, K10 eastbound at the on-ramp from Renner Road. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Before we get out of here, I want to play what Jason Kelce had to say. You guys have probably seen it by now. Jason Kelce got into a little mix-up with an individual. The individual said a word that you should never say to him, and Jason Kelce responded by grabbing his phone and Gronk spiking it into the concrete. Here is Jason Kelce yesterday before Monday Night Football's game, and here is his statement. When the computer works. There it goes.
You know, listen, I think everybody's seen on social media everything that took place this week. That's what I'm not happy with anything that took place. I'm not proud of it. And, you know, in a heated moment, I chose to greet hate with hate. And I just don't think that that's a productive thing. I really don't. I don't think that, you know, it leads to discourse. And it's the right way to go about things. And in that moment, I fell down to a level that I shouldn't have. So I think the bottom line is, you know, I want to live my life. I try to live my life by the golden rule. That's what I've always been taught. I try to treat people with common decency and respect, and I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. Even though I fell short this week, I'm going to do that moving forward and continue to do that. So, yeah, I think we got a game to focus on. Obviously, a matchup. I don't think this is the platform to necessarily go into more detail. So get ready for this Chiefs game.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, I was waiting to hear the words, I'm sorry. All of the ESPN guys were waiting. One thing that I think is incredibly overrated and something that we should never teach children to do is to say, I'm sorry if you don't mean it. If that's not the energy that Jason Kelce has, I'm cool with it. I don't think there is a reason to apologize to that individual. I told you guys this when it happened to Deshaun Watson. I am a big believer that you get back the energy that you put into the world. That young man, I don't know his name, he wanted a reaction out of Jason Kelce. He got one. That's what he got. He wanted a reaction, and he got one. Plain and simple. I do think the message needs to be redelivered to people, and maybe this is just we live in a more anonymous society than before. The text line's largely anonymous. I have your number, but what am I going to do? Look you up and come to your house? No, that's not how this works. Whether it's Reddit or comment pages or whatever it is, people just feel a freedom to speak a certain way. People speak a certain way. And I do think the message is, man, let's just leave people alone. Jason Kelce is not bothering anybody. He is walking to a football game, just like you. And you grabbed your phone looking to go viral, and you went viral. He spiked your phone off the pavement. He could have spiked your head off the pavement. People have certainly gotten smacked for less. You went up to that man and called him that word and insulted his brother? This is not the place to come for any sympathy. It's just, I don't feel that way towards you. I would say you got what you deserved. You put that into the atmosphere, and you got it back in tenfold. The only thing that I think should happen is I think that Jason Kelce should get the kid a new phone. I don't think anything else should happen. I don't think he should be suspended by ESPN. I hope that he doesn't lose any sponsorships after this. I'm sure he got a talking to from the people that love him, his mom, his wife, his pops. I'm sure the people that love him gave him the talking to. The only thing I think he should do is pay for that kid's phone. You broke the kid's phone. And then I think it's a real slippery slope to say, well, it was justified for him to break his phone because he said this. Well, what if he called him something else? Then you can break his phone. It's just weird. You grab the kid's phone, you broke the kid's phone, pay for it. You don't got to get him the newest iPhone, 128 gigabytes. What kind of phone was it? I'll replace it. You just sold your podcast for $50 million. You're making millions of dollars on ESPN, and you made millions of dollars playing football in the NFL. Just buy the kid a phone. It's a $500 phone, $600 phone. That's all it is. Get the kid another phone. I know that he's being investigated right now by Penn State, which now they want to investigate crimes. Their whole university would be different if they had shown more urgency at investigating crimes that happened on their campus. They turned a blind eye to crimes for a decade on that campus. Now they're top flight security of the world. All right. What time do the polls close? 6, 7?
I know it's 7 I believe it's 7 to 7.
All right, well, you still got time. If you ain't voted, go out there. What are you doing? Exercise your right. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5